Chapter 21:12. Qin Yin did not return to Heavenly Evil Region. He wants to go to Qin Medicine King City. The evil god, on the other hand, went back to settle some matters. He would also leave the Heavenly Evil Zone and the 8 Evil Ridge. He had long since wanted to stay in this godforsaken place. The rain god and the snake god had been killed. If the thunder god found out, he would definitely rush to the Heavenly Evil Zone personally. At that time, he would naturally find out that there was something wrong with the evil god. Therefore, Qin Yin made the evil god go missing and temporarily not return to the divine court of the Myriad Worlds. Originally, when evil god joined the Myriad Worlds divine court, he wanted to have a place to stay and get some equipment and rewards. Who knew that he would be targeted by Thunder God and almost be killed? Thankfully, he met Qin Yin and was finally free. With Qin Yin as their backer, the evil gods didn't care about the divine palace of the Myriad Worlds at all. Qin Yin arranged for the evil gods to help him investigate the 8 Nine Suns sects. Those 8 Nine Suns sects had once encircled him, causing his 9 Suns sect to be destroyed. He still remembered this death. After the formation of the Divine Wasteland, the 8 Nine Suns sects also underwent a huge change. They were no longer in their original places. They were originally powerful sects in the Divine Wasteland, so they immediately occupied a better treasure land to build their sections. The Gods Desolate was huge, but not every place was a treasure ground. Only those powerful sects had enough manpower and resources to find the best treasured land to build their own sect or a city to develop their own power. Qin Yin is on the Heaven Leaping Shuttle. He is flying towards Qin Yao King City. He had previously contacted Little Phoenix and asked it to guide him to the location of Medicine King City so that he wouldn't have to take any detours. When he was in the Heavenly Evil District, he originally wanted to wait for the Myriad Worlds Divine Court's ship, but now he didn't know when the ship would arrive, so he could only fly to Qin Yao Royal City. The evil god had said that the Heavenly Evil Zone was not valued by the Divine Court of the Myriad Worlds, so the ships that were sent were very unpredictable. For example, right now, many people were rushing to Qin Yao Royal City. The Myriad Worlds Divine Court's ships naturally went to the wealthier places to pick up people. In this way, the big ship of the Divine Court of Myriad Worlds could also earn more resources. Little Yin, you have to think of a way to make the little queen ant stronger. Otherwise, she will only know how to eat Divine Universe Golden Stones all day long. Ling Yuner said, if Qin Yin wanted to traverse through space, he would need the little ant queen's help. However, she would expend a lot of Divine Universe Gold Stones. He had already used up quite a lot of Divine Universe Golden Stones. Now, the remaining Divine Universe Golden Stones would be used to repair the 9 Desolate Divine Blade, so he had to use them sparingly. As long as the 9 Dragons' Heavenly Origin formation is strong enough, we can condense the Divine Universe Gold Stone. Qin Yin said, I discovered that the energy released by the Sun Dragon Totem is somewhat similar to Divine Cosmos Golden Stone. If it is strengthened a step further, it might be able to condense Divine Cosmos power. If you had 9 Divine Universe Dragon Balls, you might be able to succeed. Ling Yuner sighed. Qin Yin said with a smile, it doesn't matter. I won't travel through space. Flying directly to Qin Yao King City is not a problem. I can cultivate on the way. He could travel through space, but he would only do so at critical moments. I am afraid that you will miss the Medicine King Assembly. It must be very lively. Ling Yuner said with a smile. It doesn't matter. I will go to Qin Yao King City to see whether or not Sister Rujing is there. Then I will conveniently enter Qin family. Qin Yin said. He continued cultivating the divine profound Tao image inside the Heaven Leaping Shuttle. Flying to Qin Yao King City will take several months. Qin Yin naturally won't waste that much time. After his nether sun absorbed a great amount of Xian E Divine Pill's power, it finally evolved and became a divine profound Tao image. Of course, this divine profound Tao image is very special. It is very different from other divine profound Tao images. The Heavenly Lion Tao image, Divine Hammer Tao image, and Divine Dragon Tao image he cultivated before, all of them have their own special divine power aura or divine power attribute. Furthermore, These three God profound Tao images could all be attached to the divine artifact, or they could be created by controlling the God profound Tao images to display even greater power. But Nether Sun is unable to do this. Nether Sun is both a Tao image and a Nether Sun. It is a very special existence. Of course, after Nether Sun evolved, its devouring power became even stronger. Its gravity domain became even stronger, as well as its ability to dissolve and purify became even stronger. Qin Yun released the Divine Hammer Tao image inside the Heaven Leaping Shuttle. The Divine Hammer Tao image is translucent. It looks like a soul body. It doesn't have a powerful corporeal body. It is gradually different from Nine Sun Divine Hammer. Qin Yun carefully observed the Divine Hammer Tao image. The Golden Divine Hammer illusory image has faint black and red Nether Sun totems on its surface. These totems look like dragon transformation runes. The Divine Hammer looks very ordinary. It is very different from Nine Sun Divine Hammer. It must be known that Nine Sun Divine Hammer is very exquisite. It is carved with dragon and sun runes. One look, and one can tell that it is a very powerful divine weapon. Could it be that it is evolving in a certain direction? Qin Yun firmly grasped the handle of the hammer. He can sense that the might of the Divine Hammer Tao image is not weak. The Divine Hammer Tao image is formed from heavenly Tao flame. After Qin Yun poured in the absolute sun power, the Divine Hammer Tao image burst out with a very strong and violent aura. It brought along a very dreadful heavenly might. Very good. If it is used together with Nine Sun Divine Hammer, its might will definitely be very astonishing. Qin Yun stored the Divine Hammer Tao image. Next, he wants to cultivate his fifth Divine Profound Tao image. It is the even more mysterious Heavenly Tao Divine Rune. Qin Yun also doesn't know what will happen to the Heavenly Tao Divine Rune. He only knows that the Heavenly Tao Divine Rune absorbed a great amount of Heavenly Tao power before, and now that it is transformed into a Tao image, it is finally about to evolve. Other divine men only need to cultivate three divine, profound Tao images and release their strongest power. They can control three divine, profound Tao images to erupt with divine power at the same time and gather it together to rush out of their body. Of course, the bodies of most divine men are too weak. They can't withstand the power of three divine, profound Tao images. But Qin Yun's body can. Not to mention 3, even 5 is not a problem. Xiao Yun, I think you might need to cultivate 9 divine, profound Tao images. You cultivate the 9 Extinction Heart Sutra, and you also have the 9 Sun Divine Vein. Ling Yun said with smile. If it's really like this, then how long do I have to cultivate? Qin Yun said with smile. If it's really like this, then it's not bad. If I have 9 divine, profound Tao images, then my divine man stage will be longer than other people and my power will also be stronger. I'm just speaking casually. You can't even sense the 6th divine, profound Tao image you want to cultivate. Ling Yun said with smile. That's right. Only after I cultivate the 5th divine, profound Tao image will I know what the 6th divine, profound Tao image is. Qin Yun nodded. The Heaven Leaping Shuttle is stealthily flying in the sky. It is also very safe along the way. In the blink of an eye, Qin Yun cultivated for 4 months. His 5th divine, profound Tao image has finally been cultivated. The 5th divine, profound Tao image is transformed from Heavenly Tao Divine Rune, but its shape caused Qin Yun to be endlessly shocked. It is actually a small golden statue. This small statue is exactly the same as him. It looks like the head of the Divine King Heavenly Seal. The head of the Divine King Heavenly Seal is a small person statue. It looks exactly like Qin Yun. If one carefully observed, the Divine Profound Tao image, transformed from Heavenly Tao Divine Rune, looks like a translucent small person statue formed from many incomparably complex golden runes. I wonder what kind of power it will have. Could it be that it will make my perception even higher? Qin Yun frowned. Xiao Yun, you haven't cultivated the Heavenly Might Tao technique for a very long time. Ling Yun said with smile. The heavenly might Tao technique was created based on comprehending the might of the heavenly Tao. No rush. 9 Sun World Extermination Scripture, 1 Thought Imperial Heaven Art, 9 Extinction Heart Sutra. These are the most important. Qin Yin said. 9 Sun World Extermination Scripture is rather difficult to master, but Qin Yin has already grasped a lot of it. 1 Thought Imperial Heaven Art was given to Qin Yin by Evil God back then. Because it is an incomplete cultivation technique, it doesn't look like much. But if it was complete, it would still be very strong. Qin Yin has the mysterious Imperial Heaven diagram. He suspects that it is related to 1 Thought Imperial Heaven Art. And 9 Extinction Heart Sutra is the core cultivation technique that Qin Yin cultivates. It contains movement technique, finger technique, and several other very strong moves. After cultivating 5 divine, profound Tao images, Qin Yin did not sense the appearance of the 6th divine, profound Tao image. He feels that 5 divine, profound Tao images is already the limit of his potential. Just as he was planning to consolidate his cultivation, he suddenly discovered that a faint air mass has appeared around the nether sun. This is the sign that the 6th divine, profound Tao image is about to be born. There really is a 6th divine, profound Tao image. Qin Yun is shocked in his heart. However, he is still unable to see what the 6th divine, profound Tao image is. There are only divine hammer, divine dragon, and heavenly lion around the nether sun. Heavenly Tao divine rune seems to be hidden inside the nether sun. Very good. You really want to cultivate 9 divine, profound Tao images. Ling Yun said with smile. Xiao Yun, even if you face a very strong, profound God now, it won't be a problem, right? I still don't know. Qin Yin shook his head and smiled. I want to start refining pills and continue eating Xian Wing divine pill. Originally, he wanted to consolidate his cultivation, cultivate for a period of time, and then attack the profound God realm. But now that the 6th divine, profound Tao image has appeared, he can only continue refining and eating pills until he cultivates all the divine, profound Tao images. Qin Yin finished refining a pill and ate it, then handed it over to the nether sun to refine. This way, he can be in a state of cultivation at all times. Qin Yao King City should be nearby. Qin Yin took out a letter and looked at it. It is a letter of recommendation from Qin Huayu, allowing him to enter the Qin family. After the heaven's divine moon appeared, Qin Yin contacted Little Phoenix and confirmed his location. It is very close to Qin Yao King City. He adjusted his direction, left the heaven-leaping shuttle, and flew towards Qin Yao King City. Little Phoenix told Qin Yin that he is only 2 to 3 days away from Qin Yao King City. After flying for a day, the outline of his 6th divine, profound Tao image gradually appeared. He can vaguely see that it is a cauldron. It is somewhat similar to the heavenly lion dragon suppressing cauldron. Could it be the heavenly lion dragon suppressing cauldron? Qin Yin is very happy in his heart. If this is the case, then he can use the heavenly lion dragon suppressing cauldron better. While flying in the sky, Qin Yin looked inside his body and suddenly heard someone shouting from behind. Chapter 21:13. Qin Yin looked at the ship and saw a burly old man with a red cloak standing on the deck. He was bare-chested and had a muscular upper body. This old man was bald and had a tuft of white goatee. Beneath his thick, white, sword-like eyebrows was a pair of deep eyes that carried a hint of a smile. Qin Yin is subconsciously vigilant. He is worried that this is a pirate ship. Young man, don't worry. This is not a pirate ship. I'm just on the way back to Qin Yao King City. If I see someone, I will give him a ride and bring some youngsters who came out to explore the city. The old man laughed loudly. His laughter is filled with forthright and forthright. Many thanks, senior. This junior plans to go to Qin Yao King City by myself. It is not far anyways. Qin Yin also doesn't want to stir up trouble. If this ship is truly a pirate ship, it will be very troublesome to escape. Moreover, Qin Yin can see that this old man is a great god. I am Qin Zhangquang. If you know about Qin Yao King City, you should have heard of my name, the old man said with a smile. Now you can rest assured, right? Qin Yun doesn't know much about Qin Yao King City. He doesn't know anyone inside the city. He only knows Qin Huayu. This junior's knowledge and experience is shallow. I have never heard of a name Qin Zhangquang. Qin Yun said with smile. But since senior's surname is Qin, you must be from Qin family. I am from Qin family. I just returned from outside. If I see someone on the road, I will give them a ride. After all, those who come to Qin Yao King City are our guests. Qin Zhangquang said with laugh. It can be seen that this is indeed a forthright old man. Qin Yun thought about it and finally decided to board the ship. He flew over and landed beside the old man. He cupped his fists and said, Junior Qin Fei, your surname is also Qin? As long as you come to my Qin mansion and sign a soul contract, it will prove that you were born with the surname Qin, and you will be a member of my Qin family. Qin Zhangquang patted Qin Yun's shoulder and said with smile, Young man, your bones are not bad. You are a piece of good material. Qin Yun said, This junior's trip is to join Qin family. At that time, I will ask senior to take care of me. Qin Zhangquang sighed and said, Young man, I can't bring you in a Qin mansion. I can't enter Qin mansion. What? Qin Yun said with a frown. Senior, aren't you from the Qin family? Because I did something wrong, I'm being punished. I won't be able to enter Qin Manor for 1,000 years. But don't worry, I will arrange for someone to bring you there. Qin Zhan laughed wildly. Although I was punished, I still have some face. Qin Yun probed with his mental power and discovered that the old man was on the ship. Senior, what did you do wrong to be punished? Asked Qin Yun. It's mainly because I was too reckless. I used my own method to plant medicinal herbs and killed a large number of good medicinal seedlings. Therefore, I was punished by my father and was not allowed to enter the Qin mansion for 1,000 years. Qin Zhangquang said with a bitter smile. Qin Zhangquang looked like a sturdy old man. If he still had a father, then his father was definitely one of the elders in the Qin family. Senior, do you know Qin Huayu? Asked Qin Yun. Of course, she's my 7th brother's daughter. She's my little niece. Qin Zhangquang said, That little girl is very awesome. She really became the medicine god's disciple. Qin Yun promptly took out a letter and said, It's Big Sister Qin who told me to come here. This is a recommendation letter. Qin Zhangquang laughed loudly and said, That's even better. With a little girl like her recommending you, your treatment will be much better. Big Sister Qin said that her great-grandfather is Medicine King Qin. Does that mean that Senior's father is Big Sister Qin's grandfather? Qin Yun is somewhat astonished and said with smile, So Senior is Medicine King Qin's grandson. I am Medicine King Qin's eldest grandson. Qin Zhangquang laughed at himself. And also the most useless one. Qin Yun felt that it is quite unexpected to meet Medicine King Qin's eldest grandson here. Medicine King Qin is one of the 10 kings of the Qin imperial clan. Although his eldest grandson is an old man, he definitely has some status. Senior, what kind of things are you transporting on this ship? Can't they be stored in storage magic tools? Qin Yun asked. Because the speed of this ship is rather slow, it is clear that it is carrying a very heavy load. I am transporting a special kind of soil. This kind of soil has to absorb the power of Myriad Realms' divine sun or heavenly divine moon at all times. Otherwise, there will be a problem. In order to ensure that nothing goes wrong, we don't dare to put in storage magic tools. Qin Zhangquang said, Medicine King City mainly grows medicinal herbs and alchemy, so it has very high requirements for all kinds of things. While Qin Yun and Qin Zhangquang are talking, a very fast, large black ship suddenly whizzed past them. When the large black ship passed by, it released a very strange energy. It seems to be a kind of black, faintly smelly power. It swept out a gust of wind filled with dense death energy. The gust of wind enveloped Qin Zhangquang's large white ship and caused it to violently shake. This damn bastard! Qin Zhangquang immediately cursed in anger. Qin Yuda, are you deliberately messing with me? So it's Big Brother? I'm sorry, I didn't see you. I was in a hurry to go back. Oh, that's right. Father said that if there is another problem with the divine jade soil you're transporting, he will drive you out of Medicine King City. A burst of laughter came from the front. This damn bastard! Qin Zhangquang vigorously stamped his feet. He is deliberately harming me. Senior, what's wrong? Qin Yun doubtfully asked. Is that Qin Yuda your brother? I heard that Qin family is very united. Why would he want to harm you? Our Qin family is very united, but there is no other way. There are always some rats and cockroaches. That Qin Yuda is this kind of bastard. He is my second brother, a very despicable guy. Qin Zhangquang cursed a few times and then hastily entered the ship's cargo hold. Qin Yun followed behind him. Qin Zhangquang said again, Qin Yuda always wanted to get rid of me because I am his eldest grandson. In the future, I will most likely inherit a lot of things. So that's how it is. Qin Yun understood. He nodded his head and said, Senior, the thing you are transporting is actually divine jade soil. Indeed, this kind of thing is very delicate. Moreover, my father's requirement for divine jade soil is very high. Last time when I was transporting it, someone sneak attacked me and the entire ship was destroyed. Qin Zhangquang became even more furious when he spoke about this matter. Qin Yun is not unfamiliar with divine jade soil. It is a very special kind of soil, and it is very rare. Divine jade soil is indeed very delicate. Just like Shiani divine grass, it is very easy to be frightened. During the transportation process, divine jade soil needs to be constantly connected with heaven and earth, so it cannot be stored in a storage magic tool. If the godly jade soil was frightened, the special divine power inside would dissipate, and the godly jade soil will become no different from ordinary soil. After Qin Yun arrived at the cargo hold, he saw that there are many divine jade soil inside. It is releasing a faint white light. This kind of white soil can be used to plant medicinal herbs. It can make them grow very quickly. Furthermore, some special medicinal herbs need to be planted on top of divine jade soil to grow. It's over. I forgot. Qin Zhangquang's eyes are red from anger. His anger is soaring to the sky. His expression is incomparably malevolent. Qin Yuda, I want to chop this bastard into pieces. He took out a large golden hatchet. His body emitted berserk divine power. Senior, calm down. There is still hope. Qin Yun promptly shouted. The divine jade soil here is only temporarily frightened. Qin Zhangquang thought that Qin Yun is comforting him, but he saw Qin Yun quickly drawing 10 runes in the air. This is inscription battle technique. Qin Yun finished drawing a group of runes in an instant. These are moon runes. They were inserted into the few pieces of divine jade soil. Soon after, he drew a special kind of sun rune and used the runes condensed from blood spirit power to envelop the few pieces of divine jade soil. He has Moon Lady Inscription Spirit and Sun Emperor Inscription Spirit. 10 runes can be drawn in an instant. The divine jade soil was originally very dim, but now the light gradually became stronger and began to recover. Qin Yun took out some small flags and inserted them all around, strengthening the sun and moon power of heaven and earth to enter the cabin, maintaining the divine jade soil's best condition. Qin Zhangquang is dumbstruck watching from the side. His heart was originally filled with anger, but now there's only incomparable shock. Expert. Qin Zhangquang very excitedly said these 2 words. It's nothing, just a small trick. Qin Yun said, with faint smile. To him, this is indeed nothing. Using inscription battle technique to draw moon and sun runes is just a matter of raising his hand. How was this a small trick? This is simply a godly skill. Qin Zhangquang is very excited. He said with smile, Very good. I have met an expert. Senior, don't spread this matter. This youngster came from lower realm. His cultivation is slightly low. I don't want to be too ostentatious. Qin Yun said with smile. I know. I won't go around talking nonsense. If Qin Yuda knows that you helped me, he will definitely think of a way to deal with you. Qin Zhangquang angrily stamped his feet when talking about his second brother. Senior, why don't you tell your father about this? He caused such destruction. He should be punished. Qin Yun said. You don't know, this guy Qin Yuda is very talented and also very capable. He has a god position. Qin Zhangquang sighed and said, Not to mention my father, The entire Qin Medicine King City is very supportive of him. After all, he has a god position. God position? What kind of god is he? Qin Yun did not expect that Qin Yudao would be a god with divine position. Grass god. This guy is very good at growing medicinal plants. Because he has a grass god position in his hand, he grasps the power of grass god totem and obtained grass god's inheritance. He can make all kinds of medicinal plants grow very quickly and well. Qin Zhangquang curled his lips and said, "This guy is very lucky. He managed to curry favor with Thunder God and obtain this god position." Qin Yun secretly frowned. Thunder God must have used very despicable methods to obtain so many god positions to pass on to his subordinates. As the former king of gods, he feels that it is necessary to intervene in this matter and take back the grass god position. Chapter 21:14. Many of Thunder God's subordinates have god position and they are all very young. For example, Snake God and Rain God. Their god position was bestowed to them by Thunder God. As for how they are bestowed, it is not in accordance with the rules of Myriad Realms' divine court. But there is no other way. Thunder God is very crafty. He specially snatches the god position of those weak gods and bullies those gods who have no backing. It seems like Myriad Realms' divine court is more useless than I imagined. Qin Yun groaned. This Myriad Realms' divine court doesn't even care about Thunder God. Who knows what they are thinking? Qin Zhangquang checked the divine jade soil. After confirming that there is no problem, he again thanked Qin Yun. Qin Zhangquang very much admires Qin Yun. It is not like he has never seen an inscription dough master before, but this is the first time he has seen someone use inscription dough technique to do this kind of thing. Inscription dough masters are generally very fierce in battle. Their inscription dough technique is also specialized in defense and battle. And this is the first time Qin Zhangquang has seen something like planting medicine and plowing land. He has never even heard of it before. People who can come up from lower realms have true ability. It means they have very solid foundation. Luckily, you did not fall into the hands of those big powers. Otherwise, they would have used some tricks to subdue you. Qin Zhangquang said, "There is such a thing?" Qin Yun said, "Those who come from the lower realms, if they have some ability, those great powers would all fight over them. Of course, because they have no background, they will be forced to sign soul contract or something." Qin Zhangquang very carefully controlled his large ship to slowly fly in the sky. Qin Yun can see that Qin Zhangquang is a very easygoing and straightforward old man. That is why he is willing to slowly enter the city with him. He took out the spirit-chasing talisman and discovered that Xian Rujing is getting closer and closer. Xian Rujing is in Qin Medicine King City. Qin Yun is very happy in his heart. "Senior," Xiao Qin, "don't call me senior. You are my great benefactor. Just call me Old Qin." Qin Zhangquang said with laughter. "Old Qin, I don't plan to enter Qin family for now. I will follow you for a period of time. I will wait until Big Sister Qin comes back. I am worried that Qin Yudao will bully me in Qin family." Qin Yun said, "That's true. If Qin Yudao knew that you were brought in by me, he would definitely target you." Qin Zhangquang nodded and said, "Little Qin, don't worry. I still have some face. You can follow me for a while." Soon after, Qin Yun also learned that Qin Zhangquang has a very large villa in Medicine King Qin City. It can be considered his territory as the eldest grandson of the Medicine King. Qin Yao King City's location is very good. It is a rare treasure land. Not to mention the Divine Spring. There is also a natural rune formation deep underground that can draw in a large amount of sun and moon's power into the earth. Therefore, Medicine King City above ground is very suitable for growing medicinal herbs or cultivating. This kind of treasured land, every inch of it is very precious. Moreover, the treasured land is controlled by Medicine King Qin's family. They don't sell the land, they only rent it out. Many of the lands inside Medicine King City are used to grow medicinal herbs. Therefore, in some places where the land is not very good, there are many tall buildings that are several hundred stories high. This way, many people can live in them and they won't occupy the land to grow medicinal herbs. Qin Yun is standing on the deck of a large ship. Qin Yao King City is right in front of him. He can see that there are more than 10 tall buildings gathered in one area. Qin Yao King City is also very big. There are many large ships slowly flying in the sky. Because there are many tall buildings, flying is allowed inside the city. However, flying above the medicinal fields is not allowed. The people living in the tall buildings directly flew into the sky and entered their residences. Qin Yao King City doesn't have city walls. Instead, it uses 10,000 zheng tall heaven-raising array pillars to protect the city. Qin Zhangquang's territory is on the east side, right next to the barrier. Although the location is not very good, the territory is still very big. His square-shaped villa has length and width of 5 to 6,000 meters. It is not in the middle. If the barrier is breached, my place will be the first to be finished. Qin Zhangquang said. If Qin Yao King City's Great Formation is breached, all kinds of large and small great formations inside won't be able to withstand it. Qin Yin said. He is holding the spirit-chasing talisman in his hand. He is checking Xian Rujing's location. He pointed to the south and said, Old Qin, what is that place? Can I go there as I please? Of course you can, but that is a rich and noble district. The expenses are very high. Qin Zhangquang took out a storage bag and handed it over to Qin Yin. Here are 20,000 god crystals. You can spend them. I don't have many god crystals, just a little bit. Don't think it is too little. Divine crystals are used as currency in Divine Desolate. Sun god crystals are stored in a large amount in Divine Desolate. Although they contain a lot of divine power, it is not easy to take them out. Qin Yin can easily take them out using 9-dragon heavenly origin formation. Old Qin, wait until you hand over the divine jade soil. I will go take a stroll. Qin Yin said. You are worried that Qin Yuda will destroy my divine jade soil again? Rest assured, that guy won't dare to come to my territory and behave atrociously. Qin Zhangquang laughed wildly. His large ship has already landed in the Wild Beheader Villa. Although Qin Zhangquang's Wild Beheader Villa has many medicine fields, they're all empty and there are only a few houses in the villa. Old Qin, you have so many medicine fields here. Why don't you plant them? Qin Yin asked. I planted them a few times before and there were problems. I lost a lot. Qin Zhangquang shook his head and said, Buying medicinal seedlings requires a lot of capital. I spent several $100 million, and I'm scared of losing money. What's the problem? Qin Yin opened his heavenly eye and looked at the medicine fields. He did not see any problem. I don't know. Little Qin, you are an expert. Help me take a look. If good things grow in the medicine fields, I will take 30% and you 70%. Qin Zhangquang said with mischievous smile. All right. Qin Yin nodded and then asked Qin Zhangquang what the problem was when he planted the medicinal plants. Qin Zhangquang said while recalling. After Qin Yin finished listening, he said with frown, Old Qin, you are a very experienced divine apothecary. You have problems many times in a row. It is clear that someone is plotting against you. I know someone is plotting against me, but I don't know how. Qin Zhangquang said very angrily. It is most likely my second brother, that bastard. He is the grass god, he has a way. Because he can't plant medicine, Qin Zhangquang can only pull goods to make a living. Qin Yin said, Old Qin, you watch on the ground. I will go deep underground and investigate. He used mysterious penetration divine ability and drilled into the ground. Seeing Qin Yin drill into the ground, Qin Zhangquang laughed wildly and said, An expert is indeed an expert. Even drilling into the ground is so skillful. Qin Yin entered the underground center of the Wild Beheader Villa. He released his nether moon from the underground center. After the nether moon was released, it quickly rotated. Every time it rotated, it released a very strong mental power wave. Waves of psychic energy spread in all directions deep underground. When the ripples spread out, Qin Yin would be able to detect anything that he encountered. Half an hour later, Qin Yin discovered that there are several balls of things underground. He used his heavenly eye to look and discovered that they are not living things. Then he felt relieved and passed through the ground. Not long after, he arrived next to one of the black balls. It is several hundred meters underground. Heavenly poison grass seeds, no wonder. Qin Yin said with frown. Someone buried 9 heavenly poison grass seeds here and formed a large formation. It slowly released poison gas and stealthily made the herbs unable to grow. Ling Yuner said, "Was it done by Qin Yuda?" Qin Yun nodded and said, "It must be him. The formation formed by these heavenly poison grass has not been activated yet. They must be waiting for the herbs to grow to a good level before activating it and letting the herbs slowly die." The Wild Beheader Villa only has a barrier on the ground. There is no barrier underground. Qin Yuda has Thunder God behind him, and Thunder God definitely has many capable subordinates. It is very easy for them to sneak into the ground and do some small tricks. After Qin Yun determined the location of the 9 heavenly poison grass seeds, he returned to the ground. At this time, many people from the Wild Beheader Villa arrived. Qin Zhangquang stood on his large ship and said to an old man, "Father, I have successfully transported the divine jade soil back. It's good that it went smoothly. You always mess up things that are very easy to accomplish." The old man is wearing a white robe that is covered with runes. He is an inscription pill master. This old man is Qin Zhangquang's father and also Medicine King Qin's eldest son. His name is Qin Lisong. Qin Lisong jumped on the ship. Behind him is a white-haired middle-aged man. The white-haired middle-aged man is Qin Yuda. He said with a sneer, "Really? As far as I know, when your ship came back, it was very unstable." Qin Lisong heard this and said with frown, "Divine jade soil is most afraid of shaking. If you are shaken, you will be greatly affected." Qin Yun quietly arrived beside Qin Zhangquang. This guy is indeed a grass god. Moreover, it hasn't been long since he obtained the divine position. Qin Yun can see with a glance that Qin Yuda's divine position power is still very weak. Qin Lisong entered the cabin and inspected the divine jade soil inside. After inspecting, he is both bewildered and excited. He asked, "Zhangquang, where did you get your divine jade soil? How can the quality be so good? I have never seen such good quality before." "I also don't know. My luck is good. I dug up good divine jade soil." Qin Zhangquang laughed loudly and said, "Qin Yuda, this grass god, can also see that the quality of the divine jade soil here is very high. The divine jade soil he saw in a medicine god villa is not as good as this. He is very unhappy in his heart because he clearly caused Qin Zhangquang's ship to shake and even injected some death energy into it." "Father, when will the Medicine King assembly be held?" Qin Zhangquang asked. "Not sure yet." Qin Lisong said, "Don't worry. When the Medicine King assembly is held, I will make an exception and allow you to enter the Qin mansion. Then I am relieved." Qin Zhangquang laughed. "Humph. Even if you go, you will only make a fool of yourself." Qin Yudao's face is filled with displeasure. This time he failed to trick his big brother. "I'm going back." Qin Lisong received the divine jade soil and hastily returned to the Qin mansion. Qin Yuda did not leave. "Second brother, you miscalculated this time. You want to trick me again, but you didn't succeed." Qin Zhangquang laughed wildly and said, "Big brother, this time you are lucky. Next time you should be a bit more careful. If you are smart, you should hand over this land to me as soon as possible. Leaving it in your hands is only a waste." Qin Yuda said. Chapter 21:15. Not only did Qin Zhangquang successfully complete his task, but he also received praise from his father. Coupled with the fact that he had just provoked his treacherous second brother, he was in an extremely good mood. "Little Qin, my second brother is just a pile of cow dung. He actually wants to pursue the snow goddess. Does he really think that he can be on equal footing with the other gods just because he has become the grass goddess? He is just a dog of the thunder god." Qin Zhangquang laughed. "Is ice and snow goddess in Qin Medicine King City?" Qin Yan asked. He is planning to go find Xian Rujing. "That's right. She's in our Qin manor. She's our honored guest." Qin Zhangquang said, "I heard that she accompanied her friends to participate in the Medicine King assembly and also to find ingredients to brew wine. This snow goddess is very addicted to wine. She has even become a wine god." "Accompanying a friend? What friend?" Qin Yin found out that Ice and Snow Goddess is staying in Qin Mansion, so he's not in a hurry to find Xian Rujing. He wants to wait for Qin Huayu to arrive first. Her friend is also a goddess. I think she's a flower god. Qin Zhang laughed wildly. I heard that they are very beautiful goddesses. That Qin Yuda has been very diligent these past few days. He wants to pursue her, but those two goddesses don't even look at him straight in the eye. Back when Qin Yun was the king of gods, his relationship with the flower goddess was pretty good. However, the flower goddess was an old granny. If what Qin Zhangquang said was true, that the current flower goddess was a young and beautiful woman, it meant that the flower goddess from back then had already passed on. Qin Yun sighed inwardly when he learned that another old friend had passed on his position. Old Qin, I just probed the depths of the medicinal field and made a great discovery, Qin Yun suddenly said in a deep voice. What? Is there really someone behind this? Qin Zhangquang's expression had already changed. With a hint of anger, he said, Little Qin, tell me about the situation below. Qin Yun nodded and said, After you listen, you must calm down. Then, Qin Yun told Qin Zhangquang about the heavenly poison grass. After hearing this, Qin Zhangquang was unable to calm down at all. He was so angry that he vigorously stomped the ground. Old Qin, don't worry. Since the problem has been found, I can solve it. Your medicine garden will recover very quickly, Qin Yun said. Without evidence to prove that Qin Yuda did it, I can't do anything to him. Qin Zhangquang was still very angry and cursed in a low voice. Tonight, I will sneak into Qin Manor and twist his head off to vent my anger. Even if I have to risk my life, I will kill this bastard. Qin Yin shook his head and said, Old Qin, this matter has to be considered at length. Sky poison grass was not something that could be casually found. This sort of thing was extremely rare. It was not something that Qin Yuda could have. Also, the heavenly poison grass is very precious because it is very difficult for this kind of thing to grow to such a large size. Little Qin, do you know much about the sky poison grass? I've only heard that this thing's toxicity isn't that great, but it's very difficult to grow. There are also very few of them. As for its use, I'm not sure. Qin Zhangquang also realized that Qin Yuda had someone helping him from behind. For someone to provide so many precious sky poison grasses, there must be some ulterior motive. The toxicity of the sky poison grass is not strong, but it has a very big effect, which is to paralyze the body. Qin Yun said, Of course, the toxicity of the sky poison grass is very strong. It mainly targets other medicinal herbs. It can release a kind of colorless and odorless gas that can directly kill a large number of medicinal herbs. I have rarely heard of the name sky poison grass. I didn't expect it to have such a great effect. Qin Zhangquang exclaimed in admiration and said, Qin Yuda's sky poison grass. Where did it come from? The sky poison grass can be used to refine heavenly fate powder. When used together with talisman tools, it can be refined into an even more powerful heavenly fate talisman tool. Using this talisman tool to attack, it can cause the opponent's body and divine power to enter a short period of paralysis. Qin Yin recalled the effect of the sky poison grass. Little Qin, heavenly poison grass, this kind of thing only exists in the divine desolate, right? You came from the lower realm, yet you actually know about it. Qin Zhangquang said in admiration. That's because I obtained a rare pill inheritance by chance, so I have a good understanding of this. Qin Yin said with a smile. Little Qin, I'll leave this place to you. Do whatever you want to do. I will cooperate with you to the fullest. Qin Zhangquang also wants to restore this medicinal field. Only by doing so can he obtain even more wealth. Qin Yin thought for a moment and said, Old Qin, can you go and buy some formation pillars? I will carve runes on the formation pillars and set up a large formation underground. This can prevent people from doing bad things. Then I will also set up a trap and capture the people who come in to do bad things. Formation pillars are not expensive, 2,000 to 3,000 divine crystals each. How much do you want? Qin Zhangquang asked. Although he is relatively poor, he still has some connections. He can temporarily owe Qin Yun 100. Qin Yun said and took out the 20,000 divine crystals that Qin Zhangquang gave him before. It's just 100 formation pillars. It's only 2 to 300,000 divine crystals. My face is worth several million. I could just go and borrow it. Qin Zhangquang laughed and said, Little Qin, you helped me restore the divine jade soil. I am too poor now. I only gave you 20,000 divine crystals as thanks. I feel a bit apologetic. Just accept it, old Qin, then quickly go and get the formation pillars. I will do it overnight. Qin Yun said with a smile, and also put away the divine crystals. All right. Qin Zhangquang immediately left his manor. Qin Yun once again went deep underground and took away the heavenly poison grass one by one. The heavenly poison grass is very special. It doesn't have any leaves, only a very large grass root. The grass root is spherical and grows underground. Such a large heavenly poison grass is worth at least 10 million each. Qin Yun is just conservatively estimating. There are 9 of them here, which is nearly 100 million. Of course, he will not sell the heavenly poison grass because it is too precious and very difficult to grow. Ling Yin said with a smile, that Qin Yuda must think that after he obtains this medicine field, he can take it back again. That's why he dares to put it here. There's also a large formation underground that uses dozens of formation pillars to set up. The large formation is relatively simple and crude. Qin Yun broke it in 2 or 3 moves and then took away the formation pillars. When he came to the ground, Qin Zhangquang has already returned. Qin Yun entered a very large house, took out a heavenly poison grass, and said, Old Qin, this is the heavenly poison grass that harmed your medicine field. The heavenly poison grass is 2 to 3 meters tall and looks like a yellow round stone. It's almost the same as the records. It's a very big sweet potato. This damn thing. Qin Zhangquang snorted and then vigorously kicked the heavenly poison grass. At this moment, Qin Zhangquang shouted, my leg can't feel it. Qin Yun quickly walked over and patted Qin Zhangquang's thigh a few times. Then he took out the floating cloud divine needle and stabbed it into Qin Zhangquang's thigh. Qin Zhangquang's thigh has already been paralyzed, and he can't feel any pain at all. Qin Yun used the floating cloud divine needle to draw out the poison power inside, and said with a smile, Old Qin, the poison power of the heavenly poison grass is more powerful than I imagined. Even an old great god like you has been paralyzed. I just kicked it once, and it was already poisoned? Qin Zhangquang retreated a few steps, not daring to approach the heavenly poison grass. Qin Yun stored the heavenly poison grass and said with a smile, Your second brother's loss this time is great. I previously estimated that each of these heavenly poison grass was only worth 10 to 20 million, but now I think it's worth at least 50 to 60 million. This bastard caused me to lose so much. Now it is turn. Ha ha ha. Qin Zhangquang laughed loudly and said. Qin Yun took the formation pillar from Qin Zhangquang and began carving runes and setting up the formation. Late at night, he finished. Then he immediately went underground and placed the formation pillar in place. A very strong defensive great formation has been set up on the underground star. Qin Zhangquang did not sleep for the whole night. He wanted to protect Qin Yun so that he can smoothly carve runes and set up the formation. He originally thought that Qin Yun would need at least a year and a half to finish. He did not expect that Qin Yun would be able to complete it in one day. He is so shocked that he doesn't know how to admire Qin Yun. Although Qin Zhangquang is a great god and his cultivation is higher than Qin Yun's, he still considers Qin Yun as a hidden expert. He feels that he's been unlucky for so long, and now his luck has finally taken a turn for the better. After the great formation is set up, Qin Zhangquang returned to his old business. He is preparing to collect seeds from Qin Manor and start planting medicinal herbs again. This time he is not worried that all the medicinal herbs will die because there's an expert keeping watch here. At night, Qin Yun contacted Little Phoenix and found out that she will soon arrive at Qin Medicine King City. He took out the spirit-chasing talisman and looked. Xian Rujing is not at Qin Manor's side. Rather, she is at the wealthy and noble district. Qin Yin doesn't know what she is doing there. Qin Yin changed into a set of clean and tidy white clothes, bid farewell to Qin Zhangquang, then left Wild Beheader Villa and entered the wealthy and noble district. On the way, Qin Yin thought about what Xian Rujing has been doing in Qin Medicine King City for the past few months. Xiao Yun, I think Sister Rujing must be gambling over there. Don't forget, this snow goddess is a female gambler. She lost to you several times before. Ling Yin'er said with smile. Indeed, she lost herself to me. Qin Yin recalled the past, shook his head and smiled. The wealthy and noble district is filled with luxurious buildings. The reason why this is called the wealthy and noble district is because everything here is very expensive. 10 to 20,000 divine crystals are quite a lot for many little gods and profound gods. But here, they can be spent in one night. Qin Yin took out the spirit-chasing talisman and walked on the streets of the wealthy and noble district. He passed by several shops. All of them are selling divine tools. The price is very expensive. All the divine tools here are branded. They are made by famous masters or famous sections. Moreover, they're made very beautifully. These branded divine tools are mainly used to show off. Generally, they're used to show off to the younger generation of famous sections. Therefore, the more expensive they are, the more people like them. It can raise their status and identity. Not long after, Qin Yun arrived at an elegant wooden building that is several tens of floors tall. Flower Moon Pavilion? Don't tell me it is the property of Guanghan Palace? Qin Yun suddenly realized why Xian Rujing is always in the wealthy and noble district. She must be here to keep up appearances. Qin Yun arrived at the first floor and saw many beautiful and elegant women. They are all wearing snow-white long skirt and have sweet smile on their faces. A woman wearing white skirt walked up. Her voice is delicate and sweet. She asked with smile, "Young master, what do you want to buy?" Chapter 21:16. Qin Yun is short of money. Looking at the prices of those divine weapons and magic tools, he felt an indescribable impact. Luckily, he is very calm. "Do you have wine?" Qin Yun asked with smile. Originally, he wanted to buy pills, but he felt that the pills here are just as expensive, so he directly asked if there's wine. If there is wine here, then it won't be too expensive. If it is too expensive, he will at most drink a cup. His main purpose here is to meet Xian Rujing. "Young master, you must be here for icy snow, sister, right?" The woman sweetly smiled. She saw that Qin Yun is very handsome, confident, and has an extraordinary bearing, so she chatted with him for a bit. "I wonder if I can have the good fortune to meet Icy Snow Goddess?" Qin Yun asked. "Icy Snow Sister will hold a wine party from time to time. If you want to enter the wine party, you will have to pay 10,000 divine crystals. And if you want to drink a cup, you will also have to pay 10,000 divine crystals. If young master can accept this price, this little girl can sell you an invitation to the wine party," the woman said with light smile. Qin Yun did not expect Xian Rujing to use this kind of method to earn divine crystals. But he feels that Xian Rujing is not only earning a little. "I will buy it." Qin Yun took out a storage pouch and handed it over to the woman. He said, "There are 20,000 divine crystals inside. You can take half." The woman lightly smiled, took out half of the divine crystals, and handed over the storage pouch to Qin Yun. Then she handed over an invitation letter to Qin Yun. Soon after, she brought Qin Yun to Flower Moon Pavilion to stay. Flower Moon Pavilion has tens of floors. Each floor is very big. Qin Yun's stay is free. When the wine party starts, someone will come to inform him. Xian Rujing is inside the Flower Moon Pavilion. Qin Yun is not in a hurry to find her. He wants to give Xian Rujing a pleasant surprise, or perhaps tease her. Daybreak arrived. The wine party actually started early in the morning. That woman came to inform Qin Yun and brought him to the wine party. Qin Yun asked the woman leading the way. He can wear a mask, so he put on a white mask. The wine party is on the 7th floor of the Flower Moon Pavilion. There is a very spacious hall here. It can accommodate several hundred people. Qin Yun arrived at the hall and saw many noble people wearing gorgeous clothes. What surprised him is that there are many women participating in the wine party. It wasn't just men who wanted to catch a glimpse of the ice goddess' peerless beauty. Even many women wanted to see what the ice goddess looked like. Furthermore, there were many women who wanted to become disciples of the ice goddess. There's a stage at the front of the hall. Everyone is calmly sitting below, waiting for icy snow goddess. At this time, there were many women in snow-white dresses holding wine jugs. Anyone who wanted a drink had to pay 10,000 god crystals. It is said that this wine is personally brewed by icy snow goddess. The wine brewed by the ice goddess was very cold. It was made with the ice and snow she released as the main ingredient, along with many types of precious divine medicines, divine flowers, and divine fruits. Goddess's wine is cold, yin. Snow wine is very cold. It is very, very good. Yin is very good. Yin is very well. This kind. Yin is very good. Qin is very. By my sister. The wine cup is very small. 1 cup costs 10,000 divine crystals. This is very expensive. Of course, in the rich and noble district, this price is acceptable to many people. Qin drank the wine in 1 gulp. It is sweet and tasty. It also has a faint ice-cold feeling. After it entered his body, a cool and refreshing feeling spread throughout his body. This kind of feeling is very strange. It is as if he is being roasted by flame, yet he can feel a comfortable cold wind blowing on him. Refined from extreme fire, divine fruit. Qin Yun knows the feeling of extreme fire, divine fruit. He is secretly in admiration. Xian Rujing can actually fuse extreme fire divine fruit with her ice and snow divine power to brew this kind of wine. While Qin Yun is carefully savoring the wine, he suddenly felt a bone-penetrating cold feeling. He doesn't need to look to know that Xian Rujing has arrived. She has appeared on the stage at the front of the hall. Xian Rujing's face is covered with a veil. Half of her cold and elegant, beautiful face is covered. Only her eyes and forehead can be seen. Those ice-cold, beautiful eyes under her shapely eyebrows swept through the hall, causing everyone to feel a kind of bone-penetrating cold feeling. Xian Rujing is wearing a snow-white long skirt. Her body is revolving with faint sparkling and translucent white light. It is as if she is accompanied by shining fine snow. This caused her to have a kind of pure and holy temperament. Xiao Yun, what is Sister Rujing's cultivation? Ling Yuner asked. I am not sure, but she is very strong. Qin Yun said in his heart. He is wearing a mask and hiding his aura, so Xian Rujing cannot detect him. Everyone in the hall is very excited because they can sense Xian Rujing's formidable divine power. This is a very strong god. Majority of the people participating in this wine party are from famous sections. They have seen gods with divine position before, but this kind of formidable god, this is the first time they have seen one. It can be seen that many people want to go up and chat with her, but they don't dare to. They can only obediently sit down. Naturally, in order to attract Xian Rujing's attention, many people are pouring wine cups one after another. 1 cup is 10,000. Some people drank more than 10 cups in the blink of an eye, but Xian Rujing is not even looking at them. On the stage, Xian Rujing is sitting cross-legged on a soft cushion. There is a flask of wine and a wine cup on the table in front of her. She slowly poured a small half of the wine into her wine cup, then put the wine cup into her veil and drank. Xian Rujing is very cold. Whether it is her expression or her aura, they're filled with a kind of gloomy and cold feeling. It can be seen that her mood is rather low. The hall is very quiet. They came here only to drink wine. Originally, they wanted to say a few words to Ice and Snow Goddess, but now they don't dare to. Qin Yun looked at Xian Rujing. Just as he was about to send sound transmission to ask, a very strong aura suddenly enveloped the entire hall. Someone has arrived. Moreover, it is a very strong guy. Sister Shue, Thunder God's son has arrived. Suddenly a woman said to Xian Rujing with frown. This little Thunder God is very rude. Let him come in. Xian Rujing said in cold voice. Qin Yun did not expect that Thunder God already has a son. Moreover, he calls himself Little Thunder God. Knowing that Little Thunder God has arrived, everyone present immediately panicked. They got up one after another, left their seats, and stood on both sides of the hall. Little Thunder God's son. He has the same status as Thunder God. Seeing Little Thunder God is like seeing Thunder God. And Thunder God is a very powerful god of myriad realms, divine, court. Everyone got up except Qin Yin. Therefore, he has become the focus of everyone's attention. Of course, he is wearing a mask. Nobody can see his appearance. Moreover, his Nether Sundial image is very formidable. All of his aura is completely restrained. Only from time to time he releases 3 divine, mysterious Tao images power to show his cultivation. Qin Yun has already cultivated 5 divine, mysterious Tao images. 6 divine, mysterious Tao image is almost finished. Therefore, even if he is facing a profound god, he can easily beat him up. Xian Rujing does not recognize Qin Yun. She only feels that this person is very courageous. Little Thunder God has arrived. He is a tall and big handsome youth. He is wearing a blue long robe. His long robe is flickering with electric threads. When he is waving the folding fan in his hand, electric threads are also flickering. The most interesting thing is that he is wearing a golden crown with dragon carved on it. It is condensing very strong thunder and lightning power. In short, all of the equipment on his body is releasing very strong thunder and lightning power. Little Thunder God is very high profile. There are many young masters at his side. Grass God Qin Yuda's son, Little Grass God, has also arrived. Someone said in amazement. After Little Thunder God arrived, he burst in a loud laughter and said, "Ice and Snow Goddess, I heard you were here. I immediately rushed over. I did not expect you to actually be here." At this time, Little Grass God saw that there is another person sitting here. His expression sank. He looked at Qin Yun and shouted, "You little god, did you not see what other people are doing?" Xian Rujing's ice-cold, beautiful eyes suddenly looked towards Little Grass God. 2 cold airs shot out and attacked Little Grass God's body. The body protecting divine talisman on Little Grass God's body immediately released a barrier to block the cold air, but he is still shivering from the cold air. "Who do you think you are? Why do you have to yell at my honored guest?" Xian Rujing coldly looked at Little Grass God. A chill filled with austere, killing intent immediately pervaded the entire hall. Little Grass God is scared half to death. He can only fiercely glare at Qin Yun. "Ice and Snow Goddess, please quell your anger." Little Grass God just feels that this guy wearing a mask is an eyesore. Moreover, he is surely a poor ghost. He can't take care of your business. Little Thunder God promptly helped out. He knows Xian Rujing's temperament very well. Little Grass God promptly said, "Indeed, look at his body. He doesn't even have a name brand. He is even wearing a mask. He is afraid that people will remember his poor appearance. So he is pretending to be calm and sitting there." At this time, Little Grass God picked up a wine pot, poured a cup of wine, and placed it on Qin Yun's table. She faintly smiled and said, "Poor ghost, I will treat you to a cup. I will pay." Qin Yun feels that this will allow Xian Rujing to earn 10,000 divine crystals. So he took the cup and drank it. After the cup of wine entered Qin Yun's mouth, Little Grass God said again, I was just joking. You actually drank it. You will have to pay this 10,000 divine crystals yourself. Whoever poured the wine will pay." A woman beside Xian Rujing lightly yelled, "But I pour this cup of wine for myself." "He drank my wine." Little Grass God said, "Ice and Snow Goddess, I will pay you 10,000 divine crystals, but this guy also owes me 10,000 divine crystals. I will go find him and ask for divine crystals. Is there any problem?" Xian Rujing only coldly looked at Little Grass God. Little Grass God is relying on the fact that her father is from Qin Manor. Her courage is very fat. She said with smile, "Ice and Snow Goddess, I will not cause trouble in your place. I will only look for this guy." Chapter 21:17. Little Grass God only wants to drive Qin Yun away so that Little Thunder God can sit in the reception hall. This way, Xian Rujing's attention will be focused on Little Thunder God. But now Qin Yun is sitting here. Moreover, he is not afraid of Little Thunder God or Little Grass God, so he is very eye-catching. Qin Yun looked at Little Grass God. then suddenly opened his mouth and spat out a fiery red liquid. The incomparably hot liquid sprayed on Little Grass God's face. Little Grass God's face immediately ignited with flame. "Your wine, I will return it to you," Qin said with hoarse voice. This sudden development caused everyone present to be endlessly shocked. Even Xian Rujing is very astonished. And Flower Moon Pavilion's women are even more dumbstruck. They don't dare to believe that someone would dare to attack Little Grass God here. Little Thunder God is very shocked. He promptly waved his folding fan and extinguished the flame on Little Grass God's face. Then he coldly looked at Qin Yun and said, "Little Grass God is my friend. You dare to attack my friend? I will not forgive you." While speaking, Little Thunder God brazenly attacked. The folding fan in his hand swept out a burst of thunder and lightning. Qin Yun originally wanted to retaliate, but suddenly an ice-cold gale blew over, and the thunder and lightning shot out by Little Thunder God was sealed in ice. Everyone can see the frantic thunder and lightning inside the ice block that suddenly appeared. The thunder and lightning struggled a few times and then disappeared. The ice block also suddenly scattered, turned into white cold energy, and returned to Xian Rujing's body. Xian Rujing indifferently said, "This is my wine party, and I like to drink. Do you only know how to fight and kill to show off your strength? But your strength is inferior to mine, so don't show off. How about this? You compete in drinking. Whoever can't hold on loses. The loser will pay the bill." "All right." Little Thunder God laughed loudly and said, "Not to mention this little god. Even Ice and Snow Goddess might not be able to drink better than me." Xian Rujing waved her hand, letting two women go over and pour wine for Qin Yun and Little Thunder God. "This is specially brewed by me. It is called 9 Drunken Divine Liquid. Even a great god would become drunk after drinking 9 cups." Xian Rujing's clear and cold voice can be heard. "Begin," Little Thunder God said. "1 cup, 100,000. Whoever loses will pay the bill. If you can't pay, use your life to pay." Xian Rujing's words are filled with killing intent. Everyone watched from aside. They all wanted to see who would win. The 9 Drunken God nectar was quite famous. Although it cost 100,000 per cup, no one had ever complained that it was expensive. Qin Yun and Little Thunder God began a drinking contest. The two of them took turns drinking, and in a blink of an eye, each of them had drunk 10 cups. Little Thunder God's expression was very calm as he smiled and said, "Continue." Qin Yun is wearing a mask. It is impossible to see his expression. He is just drinking silently. It had to be said that Little Thunder God was indeed very powerful. Many people present praised him over and over again, because Little Thunder God was only at the profound God realm. He drank more than 10 cups of 9 Drunken God liquid consecutively without collapsing. And what was admirable was that the little god who was competing with the Little Thunder God in drinking could actually hold on for so long. Xian Rujing's ice-cold, beautiful eyes flickered with ripples of light. She is secretly startled in her heart because a true man can drink so much 9 Drunken Divine liquid without collapsing. This is very awesome. It means that he has a very strong constitution and has the ability to refine it. 20 cups per person. Little Thunder God's body is slightly trembling. His face has become deathly pale, and his whole body is emitting cold air. "Big brother Little Thunder God, if you continue, you will be in danger," Little Grass Goddess said in low voice. Each person drank 20 cups. Total is 40 cups. 1 cup is 100K. That is 4 million. 4 million is a very large amount of divine crystals to Little Thunder God. Qin Yun continued drinking. Moreover, he drank very quickly. Because he can see that Little Thunder God is on the verge of collapse. He wants to drink as much as possible so that Xian Rujing can earn more divine crystals. Every cup Little Thunder God drank feels like he is drinking poison. If he doesn't continue drinking, he will lose miserably today. Not long after, Qin Yun drank a total of 40 cups, and Little Thunder God drank a total of 25 cups. What caused people to be shocked and tongue-tied is that Qin Yun is still drinking. It is as if he is drinking water. "This young master, you are about to win. Don't go all out drinking. It is very dangerous. The charming woman pouring wine for Qin Yun is very worried about Qin Yun's safety and advised in low voice. Qin Yun is still drinking. Every time he drinks a cup, little Thunder God feels great pain in his heart. I can see, little Thunder God suddenly yelled. Qin Yun drank a total of 50 cups. Little Thunder God drank 26 cups and can no longer hold on. He knows that if he continues drinking, he will be in danger. Young Master Thunder God, total is 7. 6 million divine crystals. The woman pouring wine said. Little Thunder God and Little Grass Goddess feel like they are being F***ed. Little Thunder God can drink 26 cups in a row. He is very awesome. And the person on the other side is just a little god. He drank 50 cups and is still very clear-headed. Did he drink fake wine? Xiao Xiao asked suspiciously. Fake wine? Drink 50 cups and see. The woman lightly groaned and then poured wine for Little Grass Goddess. Everyone can see that they are using the same wine pot to pour wine. Therefore, Qin Yun and Little Thunder God are drinking the same wine. Little Thunder God, if you don't pay up, I can only chop off your head and wait for your father to come and take it. Xian Rujing said in cold voice. Little Thunder God clutched his head. His eyes are wrinkled. His expression is very uncomfortable. He is now feeling very uncomfortable due to the impact of the wine. Give it to her, Little Thunder God yelled. Brother Little Thunder, I don't have that many divine crystals. Little Grass Goddess said in low voice and then looked at Qin Yun in anger. Qin Yun suddenly said, Little Grass Goddess, right? Why don't we do this? Arm wrestle with me. Every time you win, I'll give you 1,000,000 god crystals. If you lose, you'll slap me. Qin Yun played arm wrestling in the past. Xian Rujing was present at that time. Xian Rujing suddenly recalled that when Qin Yun won arm wrestling, he beat his opponent until they were looking for their teeth all over the floor. All of a sudden, her mind went blank. She promptly took out a spirit-chasing talisman. That spirit-chasing talisman is emitting light rays, and it is aimed at Qin Yun. At this moment, it is as if everyone around her has disappeared. There is only that masked man sitting calmly in the hall. She always thought that Qin Yun would not be able to come to Myriad Heaven's Divine Desolate, because even Mother Moon said so. For 100 years, she could not wait for Qin Yun to appear. She became disheartened and drowned her sorrows in wine. She used to look at the spirit-chasing talisman every day, but there was no reaction every time. Later on, she learned from the heavenly law divine domain that Qin Yun will forever be sealed in the lower realms. It is impossible for him to come to the upper realms. Even so, she has always been deeply in love with Qin Yun in her heart. This caused her great pain. She was once cursed by heavenly punishment. Her emotions were stripped away. The worst part is that after she came to Myriad Heaven's Divine Desolate, her emotions that were stripped away unexpectedly came back. Moreover, she grew even more emotions later on. It means that she has double feelings for Qin Yun. Therefore, while Xiao Yuelon and others are very calm, Xian Rujing is feeling heartbroken, suffering the pain of lovesickness. Because her feelings for Qin Yun are very deep. She thinks that this is heavenly punishment. Heavenly Tao is deliberately punishing her. Back when she went to Immortal Desolate, she forgot about Qin Yun. After she recovered her memories of Qin Yun, she vowed that she would never forget him again. But later on, her emotions were stripped away and she lost her feelings for Qin Yun. Fortunately, her feelings for Qin Yun are very deep. She has long since bought a seed of emotions from the depths of her soul, so her emotions can be reborn. After coming to Myriad Heaven's Divine Desolate, her emotions suddenly recovered and new emotions grew out. That is why she has double feelings for Qin Yun. Xian Rujing is still unable to confirm that the person before her is the Qin Yun she deeply loves. Only if she bites him will she be able to confirm. After sinking into incomparable shock, Xian Rujing immediately recovered. Little Grass God also agreed to play arm wrestling with Qin Yun. Little Grass God is profound God realm, and Qin Yun is just a little deity. Therefore, Little Grass God feels that her chances of winning are very high. In Myriad Heaven's Divine Desolate, one realm higher can crush people to death. Little Grass God is profound God realm, If she can arm wrestle with a little deity, victory is in her grasp. Xian Rujing looked at Qin Yun and lightly groaned a few times in her heart. She is secretly blaming Qin Yun for wearing a mask to look for her. It is clear that he is looking for an opportunity to tease her. Even though she has not bitten Qin Yun, she can already sense that the person wearing the mask is Qin Yun. Let's do it on this ice jade. Don't break my table. Xian Rujing waved her hand and controlled a square ice jade to slowly float over. I will be the judge. If anyone dares to act shamelessly, I will not forgive him. Qin Yun deliberately said arm wrestling to warn Xian Rujing. Xian Rujing is cooperating. It means she already knows. Little Grass God laughed even more happily as Ice Goddess acted as judge. Little Grass God said with sneer, "You little deity, you want to arm wrestle with this little master? Wait a moment. I will make you cry. Don't act shamelessly. This is Qin Yao King's city. Even if Ice Goddess doesn't take action, I will make you wish you were dead." Finished speaking, the two of them began arm wrestling. Everyone is watching from the side. They feel that Little Grass God's chances of winning are very high. But after the fight started, Little Grass God released a very strong Xian spirit power, but it was still slowly suppressed by Qin Yun. After Little Grass God's hand touched the table, it was announced that he lost. Ha! Qin Yun's palm very quickly shot out and landed on Little Grass God's face, sending him flying and rolling on the ground several times. Little Grass God rolled on the ground and screamed in pain. While rolling on the ground, broken teeth mixed with blood fell out. It can be seen how strong Qin Yun's palm is. Bastard, you really dare to hit this little master. Little Grass God's words are not clear. His face is filled with pain as he yelled. Can't do anything about it. Ice Goddess has said not to act shamelessly. If I win, I will slap you. If I don't, I will act shamelessly. Isn't that right? Qin Yun said indifferently. Everyone's heart is jumping with fear and trepidation. Not to mention, this little deity one-arm wrestling against a profound god. One slap caused the opponent to vomit blood and lose teeth. This kind of power is very dreadful. Young master, your alcohol tolerance is pretty good. Come with me and drink a few cups with me. Xian Rujing's voice seems to have become somewhat gentle as she spoke to Qin Yun. Chapter 21:18. Little Thunder God is in a half-conscious state. He is doing his utmost to resist the dreadful wine power and at the same time refining the 9 drunken divine liquids power. He can hear Qin Yun and Xian Rujing's voice. He also knows that Little Grass God has been sent rolling on the ground by the slap, but he can do nothing. Little Thunder God has finally experienced the dreadfulness of the 9 drunken divine liquid. What he is most shocked about is that the masked man drank so many cups, but nothing happened to him. If they don't acknowledge their debt, they will pay a bitter price. Xian Rujing's ice-cold voice arrived. It is filled with a kind of chilling intent, causing everyone present to shiver. Qin Yun got up, walked on the stage, and followed Xian Rujing out through a door. Those disciples of famous sects are endlessly envious to be able to accompany Ice and Snow Goddess in drinking. This is a great honor. Xian Rujing is slowly walking in the front, leading Qin Yun through a secret passage. She did not speak a word on the way. Not long after, Xian Rujing brought Qin Yun to an elegant and spacious room. After Qin Yun entered, he can't help but take a few deep breaths because this place is filled with a kind of bewitching fragrance. Still not taking off your mask? Xian Rujing's originally cold voice suddenly became very gentle. Her beautiful eyes flickered with gentle ripples. Qin Yun laughed, took off his mask, looked at Xian Rujing and said, "Divine Desolate's most beautiful Ice and Snow Goddess. Hello." Xian Rujing bit her lips and looked at Qin Yun. The moment he took off his mask, her beautiful eyes that are filled with tenderness, tears started flowing down uncontrollably. Finally, she is able to see the man she has been yearning for again. For more than 100 years, she has been suffering from lovesickness. Every time she thought that she will never see him again, an indescribable pain rushed up in her heart. Xian Rujing ferociously threw herself into Qin Yun's bosom. then vigorously bit Qin Yun and said in low voice, "Why are you only here now? I missed you so much. I thought I would never see you again." "Xiao Yun, did you suffer a lot to come to Divine Desolate?" The snow goddess, who is usually cold and aloof like an iceberg, was now sobbing like a pear blossom in the rain. This was especially so when she thought of how Qin Yun was cursed by heavenly punishment. He would have to suffer all sorts of pain when heading to the upper realm. She could not help but feel her heart throbbing in pain. Qin Yun hugged the fragrant beauty in his arms and caressed her tearful and beautiful face. He said with a gentle smile, "No matter how bitter and difficult the heavenly punishment is, it can't stop me from seeing you." Xian Rujing's eyes are dripping with tears. The cave is filled with heartless, deep affection. She stared at Qin Yun and angrily said in low voice, "Don't speak. Quickly kiss me." Qin Yun smiled and kissed the beauty's beautiful red lips. With this kiss, the two of them felt as if time had stopped. They didn't know how much time had passed, but the feelings that had filled their hearts for so many years were finally satisfied. This pair of lovers had been separated for many years. Now that they were deeply in love, after kissing, they hugged each other tightly. They didn't hold back and interacted with each other, allowing their souls to sublimate to the peak of joy when their emotions collided. No one knew whether it was night or day. In a secret room in the Flower Moon Pavilion, the snow goddess's beautiful face was filled with a sweet smile. Suddenly, she abruptly sat up. Her face revealed a trace of fear. She promptly looked at Qin Yun, who was sleeping beside her, and immediately let out a sigh of relief. She was worried that all the beautiful and peerless experience from before was just a dream. She is still not at ease. She lightly bit Qin Yun's arm. Feeling that familiar feeling, she revealed a relieved smile. Qin Yun opened his eyes, smiled, and pinched Xian Rujing's lily-white hand and said, "What? Do you think you were dreaming?" Xian Rujing lied down, leaned on Qin Yun's body. Her lily-white hand is caressing Qin Yun's robust chest. Earlier, they were intoxicated in the wonderful joy of meeting and did not have any conversation. Now they're talking about what they wanted to say. "Xiao Yun, now I have double feelings for you. My reborn feelings were born because of you," Xian Rujing said in soft voice. "I have experienced forgetting you, experienced losing my feelings, experienced the pain of lovesickness. Now that I can see you again, it can be considered as suffering torture." Qin Yun said, "This can be considered as a kind of heavenly punishment curse. Back then when you helped me cultivate Sacred Vein, it already began. When I helped you cultivate Sacred Vein, you and I were muddle-headed. Later when I lost my feelings, we became muddle-headed again. Only now are we the real deal." Xian Rujing smiled sweetly. "But then again, back when I lost my feelings, I did not treat you unfairly. We were together often," Qin Yun said with mischievous smile. "Indeed. Moreover, you took the initiative. Ice Goddess, even if you don't have feelings, you are still so ice-cold." Xian Rujing laughed in anger and pinched Qin Yun. "Sister Rujing, you have cultivated 9 divine veins. Did Sister Kiru say how to use them?" Qin Yun suddenly asked. He is still very concerned about this matter. "Sister Kiru said that my 9 divine veins is very special. It must be cultivated in coordination with heaven's divine moon," Xian Rujing said with smile. "Of course, cultivating with you is also very good. Ice Goddess, didn't you want me to accompany you to drink wine?" Qin Yun suddenly recalled this matter and said with smile, "You are 9 Sun Palace King, King of Gods. It is too boring to make you accompany me to drink wine. Wouldn't it be better to make you accompany me to sleep?" Xian Rujing said with giggle. "How did you learn bad things?" Qin Yun pinched Xian Rujing's slender jade waist and said with smile, "Isn't it all because of your Welon sect? You little girl, these past few years you have taught me many things. It is also thanks to her that I am able to hold on. Otherwise, I don't know what would have happened to me," Xian Rujing said with charming smile. Xian Rujing very much wants to know what happened to Qin Yun after that. She stayed beside Qin Yun and listened to him narrating his experience from Sacred Desolate to Heaven's Divine Desolate. Yuan is really something. I met her before. You contacted her, but she actually did not tell me. Xian Rujing said with angry smile. It must have been you husband and wife who joined hands to make fun of me. You met Yuan before? She didn't tell you about this? Qin Yun is somewhat curious. Of course not. It seems like she wanted you to give me a pleasant surprise. Xian Rujing thought about this point, then gently caressed Qin Yun's handsome face and said with smile, This is truly a pleasant surprise. Qin Yun said, 9 sun divine maidens. None of them are in Mother Moon? What have they been busy with these past few years? Speaking about this matter, Xian Rujing is somewhat worried and said, I don't know. They never told us. In short, they're all busy with their own things. It must be that 9 sun divine maidens' mission. Oh, that's right. Yu Tian separated from Yushi's body. Xian Rujing said, Yu Tian was originally the palace master of Heaven Creation Divine Palace. Because her soul was about to perish, she fused with Yu, she who was Princess Anya at that time. Now Yushi has arrived in Divine Desolate and obtained Mother Moon's help. Yu Tian can be reborn. Yushi, Yu Tian, Sister Bing Xing, they all look the same, right? Qin Yun said. Yushi is the 9 Sun royal family's clan emperor. She looks exactly the same as Bing Xing. Appearance is more or less the same, but character is different. When she was Princess Anya, she was a bit ice-cold, but after she recovered her memories, she became a sunny and forthright woman. And Yu Tian is just a little demoness. There is no need to talk about Sister Bing Xing. She is even colder than me. Xian Rujing said. Sister Bing Xing is just like you on the outside. Qin Yun said with smile. Willan also talked about this matter. I really could not tell that Sister Bing Xing is actually like this. Xian Rujing giggled and said, Of course, I am very gentle in front of you, but Sister Bing Xing is different. Even when she is together with you, she is ice cold. Qin Yun said, Sister Rujing, have you seen Sister Star God? I haven't even seen her properly. I am afraid that after you see her, you won't like this Sister Rujing. Xian Rujing's expression is filled with jealousy. She said with charming smile, That demoness is very bad. There's a big problem with her star god position. I want to help her restore it. Qin Yun said. She told me about this matter. Xian Rujing promptly got up, put on her clothes, and said, Xiao Yun, I will go find her now. Her god position is damaged. This matter is very important. She is my good sister. She has comforted me a lot these past few years. Qin Yun said, Sister Rujing, are you going to leave immediately? Xian Rujing said with gentle smile, Little brother Xiao Yun, are you reluctant to part with big sister? Of course, I am reluctant. Qin Yun hugged her and kissed her forehead. So long as I know that you can come to heaven's divine desolate, I will feel relieved. Xian Rujing also kissed Qin Yun's cheek. Then will you still drink wine in the future? Qin Yun said with smile, Speaking of which, among the gods, there is no such thing as wine god. If you don't let me drink, I won't drink. I will listen to you. Xian Rujing said, No problem. The wine you brewed is very awesome. Qin Yun said with mischievous smile, That 9 drunken divine liquid is also very strong. Xian Rujing recalled Little Thunder God and Little Grass God from before. She very angrily stamped her foot and said, You 2 guys actually bullied you. I will crush them to death. Oh, that's right. What is going on with Thunder God? Qin Yun asked. Xian Rujing is a high-level god in Myriad Realms' divine court. Moreover, she often hangs out with Liu Shuyin, the killing god, so she naturally knows many things. This matter is very complicated. Xian Rujing helped Qin Yun tidy up his clothes and said, Xiao Yun, don't get involved in Myriad Realms' divine court's matters for now. Your current strength is not enough. Qin Yun nodded and said, All right, I will stay in Medicine King City for a period of time. Later when you come here, you will be able to see me. I will go find Sister Star God. After a period of time, Shuuru and others will also come to Flower Moon Pavilion to participate in Medicine King Alliance. Xian Rujing said, All right, I will return to Wild Beheader Villa first. Qin Yun kissed Xian Rujing's red lips and said with smile. Chapter 2119. Xiao Yun, Don't provoke little thunder god and others for the time being. Wait for me to return. Xian Rujing pulled Qin Yun's hand and said with smile, At that time, I will cultivate together with you. Also, my ice fairy and snow fairy will need your help to become stronger. Xian Rujing's face is slightly red. Her delicate and tender appearance is very charming. Although this ice-snow goddess is somewhat cold and elegant, when she is charming, she is very charming. Qin Yun cannot help but kiss her face and said with smile, I will wait for you to return. Those little thunder gods, I don't put them in my eyes. Xian Rujing is still somewhat reluctant to part with Qin Yun. She hugged and kissed Qin Yun and then left the room together. Oh, that's right. Do I know that flower god? Qin Yun said, Back then flower god was an old granny. I indeed know her. But I heard that the current flower god is a young beauty. Xian Rujing said with light smile, She is your acquaintance. She has been very worried about you these past few years. If she knew that you were here, she would be very happy like me. Who is she? Qin Yun curiously asked. Guess it yourself. Xian Rujing smiled with mysterious expression. Why did you go to Qin Mansion? Qin Yun said, That Qin Yuda is very bad. He is together with Thunder God. When I found out that you went to Qin Manor, I was a bit worried. Qin Yuda is a grass god. He is a fart. Xiao Yun, you should know that our Divine Moon World's Guanghan Palace has very high status in Heavenly Divine Desolate. Even Primal Chaos Realm has to respect us a bit. Xian Rujing said with arrogant expression, That grass god is a scoundrel who is intoxicated with success. That's right, Qin Yun said with smile. My cultivation is still shallow. I am worried about you all day long. I am truly too worried. Qin Medicine King's wife, Grandma Qin, likes to plant flowers very much. Flower God is very proficient in this field. That's why she and Grandma Qin are together in Qin Mansion. Grandma Qin is very influential in Qin Medicine King City. That guy Qin Yuda doesn't dare to offend her. Xian Rujing said, I wonder what that Grandma Qin thinks of her grass god's son. Qin Yun asked, I don't know, but I heard that Grandma Qin loves her eldest grandson the most. That is, Qin Zhangquang. Xian Rujing said. Qin Yun found it funny. Qin Zhangquang looked like an old man, but he still had a grandmother who loved him dearly. Xian Rujing and Qin Yun kissed and then bid farewell to each other. Qin Yun left through the back door and returned to Wild Beheading Manor. As for Xian Rujing, she left Qin Medicine Royal City to look for Star God. After returning to the crazy beheading villa, Qin Yun saw Qin Zhangquang controlling hundreds of golden puppets to get busy in the medicine field. They were plowing the fields and placing some divine-level fertilizer. When Qin Zhangquang met a noble like Qin Yun, he was filled with confidence and returned to his old business. He had experienced many failures in the past, resulting in huge losses. As a result, he did not dare to plant medicinal herbs again. One had to know that Qin Zhangquang, the eldest grandson of Medicine King Qin, had received a lot of resources and was very outstanding in all aspects. It was just that he was too honest and straightforward and wasn't good at scheming. That was why he was tricked by Qin Yuda. Furthermore, Qin Yuda, the grass god, relied on the great mountain known as Thunder God. Moreover, he obtained the help of Thunder God's manpower and resources. It is very easy for him to deal with his big brother. Old Qin, I have returned. Qin Yun said with smile. Little Qin, I see that you are beaming with happiness. You are very free and easy in the rich district. Old Qin said with smile. Rest assured, wait until I earn even more divine crystals. I will invite you to the rich district again. Qin Yun patted his head. He actually forgot to ask Xian Rujing for some divine crystals. Flower Moon Pavilion belongs to Guanghan Palace, and he just cheated little Thunder God of several million divine crystals. It is not a problem for him to ask for some divine crystals. Ling Yuner said with smile, I only cared about talking about love and forgot to ask for divine crystals. It seems like talking about love is more important. Spending a beautiful night with a beautiful woman like Ice Snow Goddess can indeed make people forget some things. Old Qin, where did you get these seeds? What kind of medicinal ingredients are they? Qin Yun asked. Most of them are flowers. I got them from my grandmother. When Qin Zhangquang talked about his grandmother, he acted like an old child. He even bashfully rubbed his big bald head. Grandma Qin, Qin Yun said with a smile. It seems like you know a lot about Qin family. Qin Zhangquang nodded and said, I heard that my grandmother is the disciple of the previous flower god. She is very good at planting flower-type divine medicines. Why didn't flower god pass down the deity position to your grandmother? Qin Yun asked. Maybe because my grandmother didn't want it. In short, I only heard her mention it by chance. Many people don't know about this matter. Qin Zhangquang let out a long sigh. His old eyes are filled with shame. I failed to live up to my grandmother's expectations. I truly let her down. Qin Yun is looking at Qin Zhangquang planting flowers from the side. Then he started talking about Little Thunder God and Little Grass God. He did not say that he was the person involved. He only told Qin Zhangquang that he heard about this matter. The matter of Little Thunder God and Little Grass God making a fool of themselves in Flower Moon Pavilion has spread throughout the entire rich district. It is said that Little Thunder God and Little Grass God were detained by Flower Moon Pavilion, and they wanted Thunder God or Grass God to use divine crystals to redeem them. Flower Moon Pavilion is the property of the Guanghan Palace. The Guanghan Palace is in the Divine Moon World, and the Divine Moon World is inside the Divine Moon World. Therefore, the Guanghan Palace is a powerful force in the Divine Desolate Land. Even Thunder God has to be cautious when facing people from the Guanghan Palace. These two fellows deserve it. After Qin Zhangquang heard this, he said with a gloating smile, Little Qin, when I finish planting this batch of flower divine medicine, I'll bring you to join our Qin family. I'll get my grandmother to arrange for you. Qin Yun stood in front of a small hut and looked at the sky. It was dusk, and the huge myriad world divine sun in the sky had already released a bright red light from the small divine sun beside it. Looking at the beautiful sunset, Qin Yun said in a low voice, Old Qin, does Qin Yuda, the grass god, really want to obtain this land? What does this land mean to him? Logically speaking, he has the divine position of the grass god. As long as he survives for a few more years and has some achievements, he will definitely be loved by my grandfather. He will have his own medicine field, and sooner or later, he will have more than me. Maybe he can even inherit the entire Qin medicine royal city. Qin Zhangquang thought about it carefully and felt that something was wrong. He continued to control the hundreds of golden puppets, busily sowing seeds under the setting sun. Qin Yun said, I feel that there might be something hidden under this piece of land. Otherwise, he wouldn't have used 9 heavenly poison grass to set up a great formation to trick you. This is a very big deal. That was worth at least a few hundred million. Even for the Thunder God, a few hundred million was not a small amount. He definitely wouldn't waste it so casually. Little Qin, then go down and take a look. See if you can find anything else. Qin Zhangquang said, I went down a few times before, but I didn't find anything. Qin Yun shook his head. Maybe your grandfather or grandmother knows something. I'll ask my grandmother the next time I see her. Qin Zhangquang nodded. Originally, Qin Yun wanted to go down and help, but at that time, Qin Zhangquang didn't want him to do such rough work. Qin Zhangquang knew that Qin Yun had mastered that kind of strange inscription dough technique. For such a precious inscription dough master to work in the field, Qin Zhangquang would feel bad. Qin Yun could only wait until the sowing was complete before using the inscription dough technique to make the flowers grow better. Old Qin, don't plant too much. Leave a few dozen mu of land for me. I want to plant something, Qin Yun said. He planned to plant more profound winged divine grass. It was very likely that he would cultivate 9 divine, profound Tao statues. Furthermore, he would cultivate all 9 of them to their limits, so he would need a lot of profound winged divine pills. Sure, Qin Zhangquang readily agreed to Qin Yun. Qin Zhangquang was busy sowing seeds the entire night. After all, his plot of land was very big. Furthermore, after sowing, he still needed to take care of it carefully. Qin Yun, on the other hand, was cultivating his 6th divine, profound Tao statue, which was the small cauldron. 2 days passed. In the morning, someone knocked on the door of the crazy beheading villa. Qin Zhangquang was still working in the field, so he immediately went to open the door. After opening the door, he saw a sweet girl with big eyes. Her fair face was filled with a pure and sweet smile. She had a pair of long braids that hung down to her waist. "Little girl, you must have knocked on the wrong door, right?" Qin Zhangquang laughed. "I'm here to look for Brother Xiao Yun." The woman in the red dress who knocked on the door was Little Rainbow Phoenix. "Brother Xiao Yun? I don't have such a person here, but there's a very handsome young man, but his name is Qin Fei." Qin Zhangquang immediately thought of Qin Yun. Right. I'm here to look for him. I'm Little Rainbow Phoenix." When Little Rainbow Phoenix found out that Qin Yun was here, she smiled happily. She had found this place with Qin Yun's soul-chasing talisman. Qin Zhangquang hurriedly shouted towards the houses in the middle of the medicinal field. "Little Qin, there's a very beautiful girl looking for you. She's already come looking for you. Hurry up and come out. Don't make her wait." This caused Little Rainbow Phoenix's face to turn red as she lowered her head. At the same time, she found it somewhat funny. "Grandpa, I'm Brother Xiao Yun's little sister," Little Rainbow Phoenix said with a sweet smile. When Qin Yun found out that a girl was looking for him, he quickly ran out. When he saw that it was Little Rainbow Phoenix, he immediately became very happy. "Little Rainbow Phoenix, you came so quickly," Qin Yun said with a smile as he rubbed the dimples on her sweet face. We originally planned to come a little later, but I knew that Brother Xiao Yun was here, so I brought it forward," Little Rainbow Phoenix said with a sweet smile. "Quickly come in and take a seat." Qin Zhangquang laughed wildly. "Little girl, this old man is busy farming, so I won't greet you. Since you're Little Qin's little sister, you're family, so don't be polite here." Little Rainbow Phoenix looked at the medicinal field and exclaimed, "What a big medicinal field! The environment here is very good. It's a very fertile land." Chapter 21:20. Qin Yun also knows that Little Phoenix's body has been transformed by Mother Moon before, and all aspects of her body have been greatly improved. "Brother Xiao Yun, are you and this grandfather going to start planting flowers and plants? Let me help you. I am very good at it," Little Phoenix very excitedly said. No need. You are Xiao Qin's little sister. You are also my honored guest. You don't need to do this kind of rough work." Qin Zhangquang promptly refused. "Grandfather, you won't be able to plant them by yourself, especially at the beginning. You don't have a certain skill. It will cause the flowers to not grow properly. It will have great influence on the future growth," Little Phoenix somewhat anxiously said. "Let me help you. I just can't bear to see the flowers not grow properly." "All right," Qin Yun said with a smile. "Old Qin, my little sister likes to do this kind of thing. To her, planting flowers and plants is one of the joys of life." Little Phoenix promptly nodded. She knows that Qin Yun understands her very well. "All right then." Qin Zhangquang also didn't refuse. "Wait a minute. I will call a few little sisters over. I will be back very soon," Little Phoenix said with a charming smile. Qin Yun also wants a hand over the Xian Wing divine grass to Little Phoenix and the others so that he can focus on cultivation and pill concoction. Not long after Little Phoenix arrived, she brought along a few beautiful girls. Qin Yun knows all of them. A lovely and tender young girl with a ponytail rushed over to Qin Yun and yelled, "Big brother, big brother!" This is Shui Weiwei. Qin Yun has not seen her for many years. He did not expect her to still have the appearance of a young girl. Beside Little Phoenix, there is a woman wearing red skirt. Her long hair reaches her waist. Her body is fiery hot. She is standing there coolly looking at Qin Yun and Shui Weiwei hugging each other. She has a very firm and unswerving determination. She looks like a masculine woman. This woman is Yuan Yinying, Qin Yun's little sister. She is looking at Qin Yun with a smile. The woman beside Yuan Yinying has a round face, dimples, and pure-looking face. Her eyes are already red. She is Gu Qiufei, Qin Yun's little sister. "Xiao Fei." Qin Yun looked at Gu Qiufei and said with a smile, then walked over and hugged her. "Brother." Gu Qiufei smiled and lightly yelled. The woman beside Gu Qiufei looks very mature and beautiful. She has a kind of temperament that stands out from the masses. She looks gentle and beautiful, elegant and quiet. She's also wearing a red dress, but it gives people the feeling of a blooming red orchid. This woman was also a woman Qin Yun knew. Feng Honglan. When Qin Yun saw these women, he could not help but recall the past. Feng Honglan's beautiful eyes were clear and carried a hint of a smile. There was also a hint of reminiscence and tenderness. It was obvious that she had very special feelings for Qin Yun. Big brother Qin. Feng Honglan chuckled. Qin Zhangquang, who was at the side, was full of admiration. An expert was indeed an expert. Not only did he have so many sisters, but all of them were also very beautiful. Most importantly, they all knew how to grow flowers and herbs. "It is so good to see you again," Qin Yun said with a smile. "Let's hurry up and help this grandpa plant his flowers. Don't let him spoil them." Little Phoenix giggled. "Little girl, I've been planting flowers for many years. Don't look down on me." Qin Zhangquang laughed. Shui Weiwei and the others are very proficient in planting flowers and herbs. Feng Honglan and the other women's martial spirits have been modified by Qin Yun. They are very suitable for planting flowers and herbs. Shui Weiwei has mastered water martial spirit and water divine ability. She obtained the power bestowed by Mother Moon and has already cultivated a very powerful divine water. Now that she is using it to water the medicinal field, the effect is very good. Moreover, they took out some flags and divine talismans that can be used to plant flowers and herbs. This is a very outstanding medicine planting team of the Guanghan Palace. Although they are all women, they are very experienced. Qin Zhangquang is completely stunned looking at this scene. He is Medicine King Qin's eldest grandson. He naturally knows how good these women are at planting flowers and herbs. Even those divine alchemists in Qin Manor who take care of the medicinal fields are not as good as these women. Experts' little sisters are also experts. Qin Zhangquang is very shocked in his heart. He wants to know where this expert came from and why his little sisters are so awesome. Shui Weiwei and the others rested at night. Qin Zhangquang repeatedly thanked them, took out some divine flower nectar that he has been saving for many years, and also some rare flower perfume. These gifts made Feng Honglan and the others very happy. At night, inside Qin Yun's house, Shui Weiwei and the others are chatting with Qin Yun about many interesting things. After all, they have not seen Qin Yun for many years, and they have been missing him for many years. Now that they have the opportunity to chat, they can chat about anything. It can be said that because they met Qin Yun, their fates changed. They became core disciples of the Guanghan Palace and obtained their current cultivation. Especially Yuan Yinying, when she was young. She was bewitched by fame and fortune and was almost destroyed. Luckily, she was influenced by Qin Yun and realized her error and walked on the right path. From the bottom of her heart, she holds Qin Yun in incomparable reverence. These women have nothing to hide, so they know how much Qin Yun has done for them. It is not only them. Many women in the Guanghan Palace and Qin Yun's friends have their fates changed because they met Qin Yun. Because of this, they feel that Qin Yun is a person who could decide other people's fate. He has the ability to defy the heaven's will. "Big brother, have you seen Sister Rujing? She misses you very much," Shui Weiwei suddenly said with distressed expression as she thought of Xian Rujing. Feng Honglan and the others are also looking at Qin Yun. "I have seen her. She went to find Sister Star God," Qin Yun said with a smile. "I came to God desolate and was delayed for more than 100 years. It can be said that I have to start from the beginning again, so I really need little sister's help." "Brother Xiao Yun, we will surely help you," Little Phoenix promptly said. It must be known that Guanghan Palace is very difficult to enter, and they are only able to do so because of Qin Yun. Soon after, Qin Yun took out the seeds of Xian Wing divine grass. Little Phoenix already knows about this matter, but she did not expect Qin Yun to have so many seeds. Qin Yun explained the method of planting the seeds, then took out some talismans and told them to plant the seeds. Xian Wing divine grass, Xian Wing divine pill. These are the greatest secrets of medicine god and pill god, Gu Qiufei said in low voice. I really did not expect Big Brother to have mastered them. This is nothing to me, Qin Yun said with smile. I am in urgent need of large amount of Xian Wing divine grass. Little sisters, I will have to trouble you all. All right, we will begin now. Shui Weiwei immediately got up. What's the rush? Let's start tomorrow. You all rest first, Qin Yun said with smile. At night, Qin Yun is cultivating. Yuan, Yinying, and the others are sleeping on the same bed. They're discussing how to plant Xian Wing divine grass tomorrow. Before daybreak, they began planting the seeds of Xian Wing divine grass given to them by Qin Yun. There are several tens of thousands of Xian Wing divine grass seeds inside the medicine field. Qin Yun knows that they have woken up very early, so he is watching them from inside his room. He muttered to himself, "They still have many things to learn about flower planting. I should properly teach them this time." Xiao Yun, you truly love these little sisters, Ling Yuner said with smile. Of course, although they are not my blood-related little sisters, they still recognize me as their big brother. Qin Yun shook his head and smiled. Planting Xian Wing divine grass is very difficult. Even many famous divine medicine masters are unable to plant the best Xian Wing divine grass. Little Phoenix said before that Guanghan Palace also has Xian Wing divine grass, but the amount is very low. Shui Weiwei and others have learned from Qin Yun a new way of growing medicinal plants. Therefore, they are very clear that this is a very good opportunity for them to learn and grow. Only Feng Honglan knows that Qin Yun is helping them grow, and she is very grateful in her heart. The sky has completely brightened. The gate of the Wild Slayer Manor is being violently beaten by someone. Someone is knocking on the door, but with such violence. It is clear that they are here to cause trouble. What the hell is this? You're knocking so hard. What if you scare our little miss? Qin Zhangquang picked up a large saber and rushed towards the gate. He furiously opened the door. After opening the door, he saw Qin Yuda and his son Little Grass God. So, it is you bastard father and son. Qin Zhangquang said with sneer, Little Grass God, I heard that your teeth were shattered by someone's slap. Now you're jumping around. How many pills did you eat? Old bastard, what did you say? Little Grass God's mouth is unclear as he furiously cursed at Qin Zhangquang. Little thing, do you believe that I won't chop you up and feed you to the dogs? Qin Zhangquang firmly held his large saber and said with a sinister expression, he has been cheated miserably by his second brother Qin Yuda. He really wants to chop up both Qin Yuda and his son. Qin Yuda's expression is very gloomy as he said, Qin Zhangquang, I heard that you asked grandmother for many divine flower medicine seeds. Indeed, what about it? I am the eldest grandson. This is what I deserve. Qin Zhangquang said, You bastard, you planted so many precious divine flower medicines, and you still have the face to ask grandmother for more? Qin Yuda furiously said, Actually, he is very jealous of Qin Zhangquang. Because he can never get those seeds. Although Qin Zhangquang is very rough, he did not expose the fact that Qin Yuda planted heavenly poison grass. He said with sneer, There will always be a time when people make a comeback. Qin Zhangquang finished speaking and immediately closed the door, but was blocked by Qin Yuda. Wait a minute, I heard that several beautiful girls came to your place. Qin Yuda said with sneer, Qin Zhangquang, are you trying to swindle Grandma's precious divine flower seeds to please others? Those girls are my friend's younger sisters. They came here to help me plant flowers. Qin Zhangquang's expression changed. His voice is very cold as he said, Don't talk nonsense everywhere. It doesn't matter if you ruin my reputation, but if you ruin the reputation of my friend and his sisters, then I won't let you off. I won't rest until you die. Qin Zhangquang's killing intent when he became serious shocked Qin Yuda and Little Grass God. Chapter 21-21. Feng Honglan frowned slightly as she looked at the Little Grass Goddess. She did not recognize this Little Grass Goddess. Qin Yuda and Qin Zhangquang were also very surprised. They knew that the women of the Guanghan Palace rarely appeared in the Divine Desolate. They were usually in the Divine Moon World. Not to mention helping others grow medicine. Even if they left the Moon God world, they would still go to the Moon God Palace's businesses, such as the Flower Moon Pavilion in Qin Yao King City. Who are you? I don't know you, Feng Honglan said. I'm the little grass god. I saw you at the Flower Moon Pavilion before. The little grass god hurriedly said with an excited expression. Miss Honglan, we really are fated. Feng Honglan's beautiful eyes flashed. She had previously heard from Qin Yun that the little grass god had played arm wrestling with Qin Yun and had been ruthlessly slapped in the face. I don't remember. After Feng Honglan finished speaking, she looked at Qin Zhanquang and said with a chuckle, Grandpa Quang, quickly go and open the mouth of the spring. It's time to water the spring. Qin Zhanquang said to Feng Honglan, Little girl, these two guys are not good people. You have to be wary of them. Qin Zhanquang, I'm a grass god, a god with a divine position. Why are you slandering the reputation of us father and son? Qin Yuda said angrily. The little grass god was also very angry. She asked Feng Honglan, Miss Honglan, why are you here? How many divinity gems did this old man spend to hire you to help him plant herbs? Our Flower Moon Pavilion has a cooperation with Grandpa Quang. We will buy the flowers he planted, so we came over to help take care of them. Feng Honglan said. Qin Zhanquang was stunned because he didn't have any cooperation with the Flower Moon Pavilion. He quickly said to Qin Yuda, You should leave quickly. If you don't leave now, I'm going to make a move. Qin Yuda and his son were both very jealous and puzzled. They never thought that Qin Zhanquang, who had failed many times in growing medicinal herbs, would actually be able to cooperate with Flower Moon Pavilion. After they were blasted out by Qin Zhanquang, they were very unhappy along the way. Father, what kind of luck does that old man have? How dare you climb up the tree that is Flower Moon Pavilion? The little grass goddess gritted her teeth and said, It's over. That old fellow will definitely say bad things about me. My reputation in the Flower Moon Pavilion will only become worse and worse. Qin Yuda thought of something, and his face gradually became gloomy. It must be Grandma who helped. As far as I know, the flower god of the Flower Moon Pavilion has been with Grandma these days. It's very likely that Qin Zhanquang had shamelessly begged Grandma for help. And that's how he got this deal. Dad, you have to screw up this deal. You should be very good at this kind of thing. Little grass god laughed sinisterly. Don't worry. Even with the help of the Flower Moon Pavilion's women, he won't be able to grow anything. Qin Yuda sneered. Qin Zhanquang went to open the god spring. The god spring was placed in a small hill in the medicine garden and was sealed. The god spring origin stones inside were of extremely high quality, and there was a lot of god spring coming out. Not long after, the small canal in the garden was flowing with pale, golden water of the divine spring. Shui Weiwei and the others joined hands and set up a simple flag formation that absorbed the divine spring's water and turned it into a dense golden mist that enveloped the medicinal field. Brother Xiao Yun, how are we doing? Even the alchemy god said that our herbs are the best. Little Phoenix came to Qin Yun's side and said with a smile, Very good. You are all very awesome divine medicine masters. Qin Yun said with a smile, Big brother, you must have a better method, right? Gu Qiufei walked over and said with a smile, We want to learn a lot from you. They all know that Qin Yun was once the Nine-Sun Palace King, a super expert of the Nine-Sun Heavenly Domain. He must have a better method in this aspect. Qin Yun said with a smile, I indeed have a better method, but it needs to be coordinated with inscription battle technique. He finished speaking, then soared into the sky and opened his heavenly eye. Tian Su collected the blood spirit power. Runes appeared in his eyes, which are faintly emitting purplish red light. In a flash, a rune condensed in his eyes. The rune shot out from his eyes and into the soil under his control. Through his heavenly eye, he can condense runes in a flash. This will allow him to master even stronger inscription battle technique. The medicinal fields below are originally covered with golden mist. But now, the golden mist has started flowing and transformed into many profound and complex runes. The mist from Divine Spring is surging on the surface of the medicinal fields, forming many complex runes. The most dreadful thing is that the runes on the medicinal fields are all flowing Tao evolution runes. Moreover, They can combine with each other and form a very strong formation. Qin Zhangquang, Shui Weiwei, and other women are dumbstruck looking at this scene. With just one person's power, he managed to create a large formation above the medicinal fields in the blink of an eye. The formidable blood spirit power can allow the runes to be maintained for a very long time. Moreover, they can quickly absorb the divine spring water from the surrounding canals and irrigate the seeds. What they don't see is that the seeds under the soil are all connected by the runes drawn by the blood spirit power. The most miraculous thing are the runes. There are star, moon, and sun runes. Moreover, they can transform into Tao evolution runes that can allow the runes to flow. The Tao evolution runes are like runes with life. When they flicker and flow, it looks like they are breathing like a beating heart. It allows them to absorb the energy of heaven and earth even faster. Yuan Yinying and others looked at Qin Yun in the sky and thought that Qin Yun is about to finish. They did not expect that Qin Yun would suddenly start drawing runes with his hands. There is a pink light ball in front of him. The runes inside it are quickly forming. Little Qin is drawing a totem. Qin Zhangquang can sense the totem power that is forming. While he is shocked, Qin Yun's totem has already formed. The totem looks like many shining pink threads intertwining with a beautiful flower. The flower is continuously changing and transforming into all kinds of shapes. Qin Yun pushed with his palms. The flower slowly landed near the center of the medicinal field and formed the foundation of the great formation. It's a flower totem. Moreover, it's a god-tier flower totem. Feng Honglan's beautiful eyes are filled with pleasant surprise. She lightly shouted, "Big Brother Qin is becoming stronger and stronger." All of this happened very smoothly and very quickly. Qin Zhangquang, Little Phoenix, and the other women are all experienced and knowledgeable people. They naturally know how powerful this kind of inscription battle technique is. Qin Yun slowly landed on the ground and said with a smile, "This way, the divine flower medicine will grow even faster and better. It seems like we are unnecessary." Shui Weiwei gently stuck out her tongue and said with charming smile, "Big Brother is truly awesome. Even Sister Yueshi and Sister Linglong are inferior to you in this kind of inscription battle technique." The medicinal field flickered again and again. The power of the runes is absorbing the power of the myriad realms' divine Sunday. When you are sowing, you must take very careful care of the seeds and the soil. It is very important to fuse the seeds and the soil together. Moreover, you must be very careful. Qin Yun said with a smile, "Little Qin, what kind of expert are you?" Qin Zhangquang knew that Qin Yun is very powerful, but he did not expect that Qin Yun will be much more powerful than he imagined, especially that superb inscription battle technique. Feng Honglan said with a smile, "Grandpa Quang, Big Brother Qin is just a very enthusiastic person. You don't need to care about what kind of expert he is." Right. Qin Zhangquang laughed loudly and said, "You have done such a good job at the beginning. Leave the rest to this old man. Otherwise, I will look very useless." Qin Zhangquang can finish the rest of the work by himself. He is an experienced divine medicine master. As for Yuan Yinying and the other women, they're focusing their energy on the Xian Wing divine grasses. Qin Yun also gave them pointers from time to time, telling them what they need to pay attention to when planting the Xian Wing divine grasses. He also taught them how to sense the mood of the Xian Wing divine grasses. At night, Qin Yun called them to a small hall and took out a pearl. There are many crystal stones inside the pearl that look like water droplets. This is the divine seat of the rain god. I was thinking that one of you might be able to use the power of the rain god to plant medicinal plants. Qin Yun said, "Divine seat, this is an incomparably precious thing, especially the mysterious divine seat inheritance and the power of the divine seat. It is something that many powerful gods yearn for. There is a legend that gods with divine seat are equivalent to the guards of the divine desolate. They are protected by the divine sun and divine moon of the myriad realms. Give it to Weiwei." Feng Honglan said with a smile, "Weiwei has water martial spirit and water divine ability. The rain god's divine seat must be related to water. Indeed, it is most suitable for Wei Wei. This way, when she irrigates the medicinal fields, it will directly rain. Yuan Yinying said with charming smile, and then kissed Shui Weiwei's lovely face. Shui Weiwei became very nervous and muttered, I am not ready to have a divine seat. Gu Qiufei said with smile, Weiwei, don't forget that Big Brother is the king of gods. Him passing down the rain god's divine seat to you is of great significance. Sister Weiwei, Brother Xiao Yun's cultivation is very low now. He is outnumbered. If you become the rain god, maybe you will be of great help to him in the future. Little Phoenix said, All right then, I will accept it. Shui Weiwei sweetly smiled at Qin Yun. She felt that she was not worthy of the rain god's divine seat, but after thinking about it, she realized that Qin Yun is giving her the divine seat because he trusts her. Qin Yun laughed, then took out the divine king heavenly seal and pressed it on Shui Weiwei's forehead. Then he lightly yelled, Open! Suddenly, a blue light appeared on Shui Weiwei's forehead. Qin Yun controlled the rain god's divine seat and made it float in the air. Then he used the divine king heavenly seal and pressed it on the rain god's divine seat. The rain god's divine seat suddenly overflowed with blue light and shot into Shui Weiwei's forehead. Shui Weiwei's brows are wrinkled. She's in a bit of pain. She lightly yelled, I seem to have obtained a rain god's inheritance. Qin Yun's face is filled with doubt as he said, But the divine seat is still in my hands. There is no connection between us. If the rain god's divine seat is passed on smoothly, it will enter Shui Weiwei's body and fuse with her 9 spiritual souls and 9 spirits. Big Brother, I have already obtained the divine seat. Shui Weiwei said, then opened her palm and with great difficulty took out a small transparent crystal ball. It is raining inside the crystal ball. Chapter 21-22. Brother, am I rain god now? Shui Weiwei is very puzzled. She looked at her deity position and then at the rain god position in Qin Yun's hand. Qin Yun nodded and said, You are rain god. Moreover, you are a new rain god. Your deity position is also new. It will accompany you as you grow. Why didn't Weiwei get the original deity position? Yuan Yinying asked. Maybe after Myriad World Divine Desolate, Myriad World Divine Sun, and Myriad World Divine Moon appeared, deity position also changed. Qin Yun looked at Yuan Yinying and said with smile, Yinying, I will try and see if you can obtain rain god position. This. Is rain god position suitable for me? Yuan Yinying is startled. Qin Yun said, If you think it is not suitable, I will take it back. Yuan Yinying nodded and said with some expectation, Come. After that, Qin Yun passed the deity position of the rain god to Yuan Yinying, just like before. Qin Yun is extremely shocked to see that he actually succeeded. Just like Shui Weiwei, Yuan Yinying also obtained a new deity position. In order to confirm, Qin Yun tried again on Feng Honglan, Little Rainbow Phoenix, and Gu Qiufei. After passing the deity position several times, Qin Yun sensed that the Divine King Heavenly Imprint has become very weak. Furthermore, the Heavenly Tao Divine Rune inside his nether sun has also become dispirited. After realizing this, Qin Yun became even more shocked. The same deity position can be passed down several times, and the energy consumption is actually the Heavenly Tao Divine Rune. Qin Yun has obtained the Heavenly Tao Divine Rune for a long time. Now he finally understands how formidable it is. Then, we are all rain gods. Even Yuan Yinying and the others find this inconceivable, because they all obtain the same rain god inheritance. They can already sense that deity position totems are about to appear on their bodies. Don't make this matter public, Qin Yun very seriously said. Brother, we won't speak carelessly. We won't tell anyone, Shui Weiwei said, and then promptly signed a soul contract with Qin Yun. Feng Honglan and the others also did the same. Qin Yun did not ask them to do this. Instead, they felt that only by doing this can they feel more at ease. Qin Yun believed that this was a miracle caused by the combination of the heavenly Tao divine rune and the divine King heavenly seal. Possessing the divine King's heavenly seal means that you can create a divine position. Ling Yun said, "The divine King bestows a divine position. This should be very normal." Qin Yun shook his head. This matter was too bizarre. He planned to find more deity positions to try and confirm this matter before doing anything else. If that was really the case, then he could establish his own power, let more people have the divine position, and then follow him. Only then would he be able to stand tall in the divine wilderness and become the king of gods. I have to think of a way to get Qin Yuda's divine position of grass god and pass it on to more people to try. Qin Yun thought to himself. Qin Yuda's divine seed of the grass god was also quite useful. Ling Yun said with a smile, "Xiao Yun, can you pass the rain god position to Sister Rujing? Can a god have two god positions? I can give it a try. Let's talk about it after she comes back." Qin Yun now needs to restore the heavenly Tao divine rune. He lost too much heavenly Tao divine power before. Inside his 9-sun divine vein, there's also a heavenly vein which was given to him by Heavenly Mother Yuan. Heavenly vein and 9-sun divine vein completely fused together and grew together. Together with the heavenly Tao divine rune, he can quickly absorb heavenly Tao power into his body and then refine it into heavenly Tao divine power. In the future, you will discuss with each other how to grasp the rain god's inheritance. You will need to comprehend it yourself. Only in this way can you become stronger. Qin Yun said. Got it. Yuan Yinying and the others nodded. All right, after daybreak, return to Flower Moon Pavilion, Qin Yun said with smile. Gu Qiufei and the others did not sleep at all. They were discussing the matter of divine position inheritance. After daybreak, they returned to Flower Moon Pavilion. From time to time, they would come here to take care of the divine flower medicines. Qin Yun continued to refine Xian Wing divine pills. He wants to cultivate many divine Xian Dao statues, so he needs more and more Xian Wing divine pills. Fortunately, the pill-melting heavenly furnace is very convenient to use. As long as the medicinal ingredients are put in, they can be directly transformed into divine pills. He only needs to provide energy. He doesn't need to take care of anything. Moreover, the speed of refining pills is very fast. Qin Yun ate a few Xian Wing divine pills and let Nether Sun refine the medicinal power. Then he began cultivating the 6th divine Xian Dao statue. After many days of abandonment, Wild Beheading Villa's medicinal field welcomed new life. In just 2 days, many sprouts grew. Those divine flowers are growing very well. Their growth speed is very fast. According to what Qin Zhangquang said before, it would take a month for them to germinate. Now, it only took 2 days for them to germinate and grow very fast. Qin Zhangquang originally had many helpers, but he was worried that those helpers would be bribed, so he didn't use them. He only allowed Qin Yun, Gu Qiufei, and the others to freely enter and leave Wild Beheading Villa. Qin Yun is cultivating inside the house. Qin Zhangquang knocked on the door and said with smile, "Little Qin, that girl Huayu is back. She doesn't know you are here." "Ha! I told her to come over and give her a surprise." "Really? That's great. It's time for me to enter the Qin mansion. It's better to have a home," Qin Yun said. "Little Qin, don't worry. Our Qin Imperial clan is very united. We only need a few pieces of rat shit like Qin Yuda and his son. Sooner or later, we will be eradicated." Qin Zhangquang saw Qin Yun come out and said with smile. Qin Yun nodded. He joined the Qin family to find an opportunity to contact the Qin Emperor of the Qin Imperial clan and ask about the Black Bloodline. In the afternoon, Qin Huayu arrived at the Wild Beheading Villa. Qin Huayu is wearing a simple white skirt. Her long hair is tied up. After she entered the Wild Beheading Villa, she said in amazement, "Uncle, the divine flowers here are growing very well. How did you grow them? After not seeing you for so long, you have mastered such a high-level medicine cultivation technique?" Qin Zhangquang laughed mischievously and said, "That's because I your uncle, have the help of an expert." As soon as Qin Huayu arrived, she jumped around in the medicinal field. She looked at those newly born flower sprouts and repeatedly exclaimed in admiration. She learned a lot from the medicine god. Naturally, she can see that these flower sprouts are growing very well. Even if the medicine god personally came to plant them, at most, he could only plant a little. However, there are many flower sprouts here. It would take a long time to plant so many flower sprouts. The more Qin Huayu looked, the more alarmed she became. She said with a frown, "This seems to be the Guanghan Palace's technique, but it doesn't seem like it. There must be a more profound technique." "Little girl Huayu, you have been with the medicine god for a few days. Have you improved a lot? You can see so many things." Qin Zhangquang laughed. He has many nephews and nieces. He likes Qin Huayu the most. Although Little Grass God is his nephew, he hates him the most. He can't wait to strangle him to death. Only Little Grass God would call him old guy all day long. "Uncle, how did you do it? Quickly teach me." Qin Huayu came to Qin Zhangquang's side, shook his arm, and said coquettishly, "I really can't do it. If I could, I wouldn't have been bullied so miserably by your second uncle." Qin Zhangquang mischievously laughed and said, "I already said that there is an expert helping me." Qin Huayu looked at her room and said in a low voice, "Is that expert inside?" "Little Qin, little girl Huayu is here," Qin Zhangquang shouted. Qin Yin also opened the door and came out. He walked out with a smile on his face and shouted, "Big sister Qin, long time no see." "Little Qin, so it's you." Qin Huayu opened her small mouth and shouted in pleasant surprise. Then she flew over. Qin Yin said with smile, "I have come to join the Qin family. Please take care of me." Qin Huayu lightly chuckled. "Little Qin, you are so powerful. Why would you need me to take care of you? You should take care of me." Seeing Qin Yin here, she could understand why the flower sprouts here can grow so well. She had seen Qin Yin plant all the profound winged divine grass alive, and then secretly take a large amount of them. In Qin Huayu's eyes, Qin Yin is much more powerful than her medicine god master. "Your master didn't come?" Qin Yin asked. "He didn't come." Qin Huayu is somewhat disappointed. Medicine god doesn't give grandfather any face at all. Qin Zhangquang laughed wildly and said, "Medicine god lost a grandfather once, so he's not in a good mood and won't come again." Qin Huayu looked at the flower sprouts and asked in puzzlement, "Little Qin, you also know the secret technique of Guanghan Palace?" "Little girl Huayu, there were several little girls from Guanghan Palace who came to help plant medicine. They are all little Qin's little sisters." Qin Zhangquang laughed wildly. "Ah, little Qin, you have little sisters in Guanghan Palace?" Qin Huayu has always been curious about Qin Yun's origin. Now she is even more curious. Qin Yun said that he came from the lower realms, but Qin Huayu doesn't believe that someone from the lower realms can be so powerful. They're all my adopted little sisters. I will introduce you to them some other day," Qin Yun said with smile. Good, good. I have always wanted to meet the beauties of Guanghan Palace, but I never had the chance." Qin Huayu said, "I saw big sister Shui Ru in Medicine God Mountain Villa, but I didn't dare to talk to her." Qin Yin said, "What about her? Did she also come to Qin Medicine Royal City?" Qin Huayu nodded and said, "Yes, she also came. She is in Flower Moon Pavilion. Let's go. We will talk about it in Qin manner." Qin Yin said, "Little girl Huayu, bring little Qin to grandmother." Qin Zhangquang took out a letter and handed it to Qin Huayu. He said, "You introduce him, plus me. Grandmother will definitely accept him. Is that really okay? Great-grandmother's temper is very strange. Even I am afraid of her and don't dare to talk to her." Qin Huayu took the letter and said with some worry, "Don't you know who little Qin is?" Qin Zhangquang laughed wildly. "Great-grandmother's Jasper Flower Valley is very difficult to enter. Even for me, it is very difficult to see great-grandmother." Qin Huayu lightly sighed and said, Chapter 21-23. Qin Yin only knew that Flower God is with Grandma Qin. Medicine King Qin is Qin Huayu's great-grandfather and Grandma Qin is Qin Huayu's great-grandmother. Even for Qin Huayu, it is not easy to meet these two virtuous and respected elders. Therefore, Qin Huayu feels that it is too difficult to bring Qin Yun to her great-grandmother's place. Soon after, Qin Zhangquang warned Qin Huayu to pay attention to Qin Yuda and Little Grass God. Qin Huayu and Qin Yun boarded a small flying boat and flew towards the Qin mansion. "Big Sister Qin, how is your relationship with Little Grass God?" Qin Yun asked. Little Grass God is Qin Huayu's cousin. "That damned bastard. He liked to steal my things since he was young and often framed me, causing me to often be reprimanded by grandfather and grandmother. He even left a bad impression on grandfather and grandmother," Qin Huayu said very angrily. Qin Yuda often framed his big brother, Qin Zhangquang. Little Grass God also learned many shady tricks from his father. Soon after, Qin Yun simply explained the matter of Qin Zhangquang being framed. After Qin Huayu finished listening, she was not surprised at all. She said, "The reason why Uncle ended up like this is because he was framed by Grass God's second uncle. I already knew that. That dog of son of his also has the same virtue. He liked to frame us since he was young. In that case, other than Little Grass God, all of you cousins are very united, right?" Qin Yun said. "And we are very united. That's why that bastard Little Grass God is also somewhat afraid of us," Qin Huayu said. Qin Yun felt that it was necessary to get rid of Qin Yuda and his son. Firstly, their character is extremely bad, and they are very vicious people. Secondly, they're Thunder God's people. Thunder God must have bad intentions by placing such a tumor in Medicine King Qin's place. "Little Qin, have you refined the Xian divine pill?" Qin Huayu suddenly asked. "You are already late-stage true God, right? You should be able to become a profound God very soon." Qin Yun took out a small pill and handed it to Qin Huayu. He said with a smile, "Here you go, try it." "Ah, I really refined it." Qin Huayu hurriedly took it and looked at it carefully. She exclaimed, "It looks much better than what the alchemy god refined. Little Qin, you're really amazing. Don't talk nonsense about this matter for now. I'm worried that Grass God and Little Grass God will target me." Qin Yun smiled and said, "Quickly eat it. Little Qin, stop joking. How can I bear to eat such a precious, profound wings divine pill? Besides, it's useless for me to eat it now." Qin Huayu faintly sighed. "If I had met you earlier, I wouldn't have had to painstakingly hold it in for over 100 years to become a profound god. Brother Long has held it in for thousands of years to become a profound god. If he heard this, he would vomit blood," Qin Yun said with a smile. "By the way, Brother Long is here too. After I settle you down in the Qin family, I'll bring you to see him." Qin Huayu smiled and said, "Big Brother Long is also preparing to get married. This time he brought his wife. Then I must congratulate him," Qin Yun said with a smile. Before long, Qin Huayu's small boat arrived at the gates of the Qin Manor. Something happened to her token, and she had people board the boat to check before she could enter the Qin Manor. Even Qin Huayu, the great-granddaughter of Medicine King Qin, was very strict when she entered the Qin Manor. "I'm going to face great-grandmother soon. I'm so nervous." Qin Huayu tightly held Qin Zhangquang's letter. Qin Yun thought for a moment, then took out a pearl. He tightly held the pearl with both hands and closed his eyes. Using the power of the heavenly eye, he began carving the flower totem. The flower totem was condensed inside the pearl by him and quickly formed. After he finished, he handed the pearl over to Qin Huayu. "Big Sister Qin, when the time comes, take this as a gift and give it to your great-grandmother," Qin Yun said with a smile. "Ah, this is flower totem? What a powerful flower totem." Qin Huayu took the pearl and placed it in front of her eyes. She looked at the small flower formed from red runes at close range. Even though Qin Yun formed runes like this, regardless of finesse or other aspects, they're all extremely high level. "Whatever the old man likes, just give it to him," Qin Yun said with a smile. "Great-grandmother indeed likes flowers. My name is Huayu. It's the name she gave me." Qin Huayu sighed lightly and said, "It's just that I've been rather timid since I was young. I'm rather afraid of great-grandmother. Moreover, I don't know how to make her like me. In addition, that bastard little grass god slandered me. Don't be afraid. I'm here, Qin Yun said with smile. Little Qin, you are like my good big brother. Don't call me Big Sister Qin. You must be an old guy who has lived for thousands of years. It's very scary when you call me that. Qin Huayu giggled. It doesn't matter if it's big sister or little sister, Qin Yun said with smile. All right, having a powerful little brother to help me, this is also very good. Qin Huayu laughed tenderly and said, I'm the youngest. I really don't have any younger brothers or sisters. In terms of soul age, Qin Yun is not just an old guy who has lived for thousands of years. There are not many people in the Divine Desolate who are older than him. The Qin Mansion is in the middle of the Qin Medicine Royal City. Although Qin Yun is inside the flying boat, he can see the scenery outside. The interior of the Qin Mansion is like a beautiful village. The flowers, plants, and trees here are all releasing all kinds of fragrance, causing the entire Qin Mansion to be enveloped in an incomparably beautiful environment. The layout of the buildings in the Qin Mansion, as well as the arrangement of the flowers, plants, and trees in the garden, have all been meticulously arranged. This can make the whole even more harmonious. There's only a kind of incomparably mysterious charm. Looking at it is also very comfortable. Not long after entering, Qin Yun discovered that there is a world inside the Qin Mansion. The flying boat is flying towards the Jasper Flower Valley, and there's a faint spatial fluctuation in the Jasper Flower Valley. Big Sister Qin, is the Jasper Flower Valley in a desolate domain? Qin Yun asked. This is our Qin family secret, Qin Huayu said in a low voice. Little Qin, don't talk nonsense about this. Qin Yun nodded and said, after the Divine Desolate was formed, space began to compress. Many of the original desolate domains disappeared, and the desolate domains that still exist are definitely very powerful. The desolate domain is a small world that grows by itself in the spatial crack. The formation of this kind of small world means that there is a very powerful energy source supporting it. Qin Huayu's small flying boat stopped in front of a small canyon. There is a memorial arch in the small canyon with the 3 words, Jasper Flower Valley, written on it. There's an old man guarding here. When he saw someone come over, he immediately went over and said, What's the matter? If you want to enter the Jasper Flower Valley, you need to report and obtain the permission of Grandma Jasper Flower before you can enter. Uncle Nyo, I am Huayu. Qin Huayu held the letter and handed it over. My uncle Qin Zhangquang asked me to give this to you. Uncle Nyo is very tall. His nose is very big and his eyes are like a bull's eyes. He indeed looks a bit like a minotaur. Uncle Nyo opened the letter and looked at it, then said, Go in. There are also many guests in the Jasper Flower Valley. When you enter, you must greet them. If you don't know them, just call them senior and be polite. Thank you for the reminder, Uncle Nyo. We will definitely remember it. Qin Huayu nodded and said with a smile. Uncle Nyo handed the letter to Qin Huayu and let them enter. Qin Huayu pulled Qin Yun and entered the canyon. After passing through the canyon, they arrived at a beautiful and quiet large valley. There is indeed a desolate domain here. It is a relatively small one. Guests have come to the Jasper Flower Valley. There must be some very powerful people. Qin Huayu became even more nervous. Sister Qin, you are after all the disciple of the medicine god. What are you afraid of? Qin Yun said with a smile. Besides, there is still me. Qin Huayu said with a smile. Little Qin, you are a very powerful expert, but I am not afraid of you. This is mainly because you don't have any heirs. Qin Yun is such a person. He can blend into all kinds of environment and not appear out of place. Otherwise, if he released his formidable Palace King and Divine King aura, it would be rather scary. Uncle Nyo said that there are many guests. It can be seen that other than the flower god, there are also other important people among Grandma Jasper Flower's guests. After entering the Jasper Flower Valley, they saw a few scattered houses located in the middle of a field of flowers and plants. There's a small river formed by a divine spring that gradually flowed. The Jasper Flower Valley is filled with birdsong and the fragrance of flowers. It is full of exuberant vitality, There are many kinds of strange fragrance of divine flowers wafting in the air. Walking on the small path, the flowers and grasses on the side overflowed with mist. It is very fragrant. So beautiful. I haven't been to Jasper Flower Valley for a long time. Qin Huayu praised while walking. There's a relatively large house in front. It is Grandma Jasper Flower's residence. After Qin Yin approached the house, he sensed a few powerful auras. Sure enough, they're all powerful big shots. At this moment, Qin Huayu cannot help but feel nervous. Sister Qin, when you give the flower totem to your great-grandmother, remember to say that your uncle obtained it by chance and gave it to you. Qin Yin suddenly said. And Qin Huayu nodded and said. Qin Yin feels that Qin Zhangquang, this boorish person, definitely did not give anything to his grandmother. This way, it is equivalent to Qin Huayu and Qin Zhangquang giving things to Grandma Jasper Flower. The house's door is not closed. Qin Huayu is very nervous in her heart. She tightly held Qin Yun's hand and walked in front, entering the house's door. After entering, she saw more than 10 people here. This caused Qin Huayu to be so nervous that she doesn't know what to do. Greetings, elders, Qin Yun promptly said. After Qin Huayu reacted, she also promptly saluted and greeted. There are more than 10 people in the courtyard. There are only 3 old men. The rest are middle-aged and young men. After Qin Yun entered, he also saw Flower Goddess. Flower Goddess is wearing a snow-white long skirt. Her beautiful goose egg-like jade face is very exquisite and beautiful. That peerlessly beautiful face is something Qin Yun is very familiar with. This woman is none other than Xiang Yalan, the woman with innate flower totem. She is also an inscription master. When Xiang Yalan saw Qin Yun, she felt incomparably shocked in her heart. Luckily, she quickly calmed down, otherwise she would have shouted out loud. Qin Yun only indifferently glanced at Xiang Yalan and pretended not to know her, because in his heart, he already guessed who Flower Goddess is. Huayu, is it? A white-haired but extremely young middle-aged woman in red skirt looked at Qin Huayu and asked with a slightly cold tone. Great-grandmother, it's me. Qin Huayu feels somewhat sad in her heart because her great-grandmother has almost forgotten what she looks like. There are a few famous big shots of Divine Desolate here. Come and get to know these big shots. Chapter 21-24. Qin Huayu appeared very reserved and nodded. When Qin Yun came in, he saw grass god Qin Yuda and his son Little Grass God among the people here. They were actually here as well. It was also because of the presence of the father and son, the grass goddess and the little grass goddess, that Qin Huayu was even more nervous. Since young, Qin Huayu had been bullied many times by the little grass goddess. The important figures that Granny Jasper Flower was referring to were the 3 old men and Xiang Yalan. When the grass god and little grass god saw Qin Huayu's nervous state, they couldn't help but reveal mocking and pleased smiles. The little grass god was especially pleased with himself because he had performed the best among the younger generation of the Qin family on this occasion. This is an elder from the Heavenly Elixir Palace, Elder Zhen Ma of the Ma clan. Granny Qianghua said with a smile as she looked at the elegant elder with white hair. Greetings, Elder Ma. Qin Huayu hurriedly saluted. Little girl, I heard that you are the new disciple of the medicine god. To be able to become the disciple of the medicine god, there must be something extraordinary about you. Ma Jiazhen laughed. Qin Huayu immediately felt much more at ease. She also suddenly remembered that she was the disciple of the medicine god and should have confidence. Granny Jade Flower laughed a few times, then looked at a half-bald short old man and said, This is Divine Inscription Palace's elder, Peng Changjian. Just like before, Qin Huayu bowed politely. Then, the one who introduced him was a chubby old man with a round face. He was the leader of the ancient Dan God sect, Gu Tianwei. These 3 were indeed rather famous big shots. Their cultivation bases were all extremely high, and they were all heavenly gods stronger than the great god. Last was Xiang Yalan, the flower goddess. Xiang Yalan's cultivation was also very high. She was at least at the great god realm. Qin Huayu had seen the flower goddess for a long time. After all, she was a rare beauty, and she was also the flower goddess from the Moon Palace, so she admired the flower goddess very much. This is your second uncle, Grass God. You should know him, right? Granny Qianghua looked at Qin Yuda and said, Yes. Qin Huayu cursed Qin Yuda in her heart, but she could only politely say, Hello, second uncle. Little girl Huayu, is there something important that brought you here? It's fine if you come to such an occasion, but why did you bring outsiders in? Little grass goddess looked at Qin Yun and said unhappily. Qin Yun was rather handsome. It could be said that he paled in comparison to the other youths here. Little grass goddess was naturally displeased. Qin Yuda, on the other hand, felt that Qin Yun looked very familiar. He had seen Qin Yun before at the Wild Beheader Villa, but he did not mention it. Great-grandmother, he is Qin Fei from the lower realms. He is good at growing medicinal herbs, and he is also an inscription master. He wants to join our Qin family. As Qin Huayu spoke, she quickly took out a letter and passed it to Grandma Jasper Flower. She added, Eldest uncle also recommended him to Jasper Flower Valley, an inscription pill master from the lower realms. This made the elders of the Divine Inscription Palace and the Heavenly Pill Palace, as well as the sect master of the ancient Dan Divine sect, very interested. Over the years, it's not that there were no people from lower realms, but very few of them were good. Little grass god sneered and said, Uncle, relying on great-grandmother's love, he actually dares to cause trouble. He even recommended cats and dogs to come to Jasper Flower Valley. Forget about this outsider. Even I can't stay in Jasper Flower Valley. Xiang Yalan sneered in her heart. She knows better than anyone what kind of existence Qin Yun is. She believes that Qin Yun being able to stay in Jasper Flower Valley is Granny Qianghua's luck. Of course, she did not say anything. She knows very well that Qin Yun can handle this matter. After Granny Qianghua finished reading the letter, she looked at Qin Yun and said with a nod, Wild Slayer told me about you. You can stay. Qin Yuda and his son, as well as Qin Huayu, are very surprised, because Granny Qianghua agreed so straightforwardly. Great-grandmother, this is a small gift for you. Qin Huayu suddenly took out a box and handed it to Granny Qianghua. This girl can only give a small gift to great-grandmother. Little grass god said in a very bad mood and glared at Qin Yun. Granny Qianghua took the box and opened it. There's a pearl inside the pearl, and inside the pearl is a very beautiful red flower. Every single one of the big shots here have very good eyesight. It's a flower totem, a god-tier flower totem at that. Although most of the runes are hidden, this flower totem is still very useful. Divine Inscription Palace's elder Peng Changjian said in astonishment. He already arrived beside Granny Qianghua with one step. A very good flower totem. Who made it? This is a very high-level inscription battle technique. Heavenly Pill Palace's elder Ma Jiajin laughed and said, This is not a small gift. Xiang Yalan can tell with a glance that it was made by Qin Yun. She is secretly astonished in her heart. Qin Yun's inscription level has once again increased to an extremely high level. It's... Uncle gave it to me, Qin Huayu said in low voice. Good. Granny Qianghua also revealed a happy smile. Then she touched Qin Huayu's hand and said, Huayu, I'll leave it for you. It's more useful to you. I appreciate your kind intentions. Qin Yuda suddenly said, Grandmother, this Qin Fei's origin is unknown. I'm worried that he will cause trouble in Jasper Flower Valley. What's more, why can he stay in Jasper Flower Valley? Even if it's me, a grass god, you won't let me stay. Great-grandmother, you are biased. We can't stay, but you let an outsider stay. Little grass god said in a very bad mood. Grandmother, big brother is forbidden from entering Qin Mansion. He must have a grudge against the entire Qin Mansion. He recommended people to come here. Maybe he wants to cause trouble here? Qin Yuda said again. Qin Yun can be considered to have experienced the shamelessness of Qin Yuda and Little Grass God. In front of several big shots, they said such things about Qin Zhangquan. Even Qin Huayu is grinding her jade teeth in anger. Don't talk nonsense. Uncle is a very good person. Moreover, little Qin is also very awesome. His ability is in no way inferior to you, father and son. Qin Huayu can no longer bear it and shouted loudly. What are you shouting for? What kind of propriety is this? Do you have the right to speak here? Little grass god promptly shouted. Xiang Yalan lightly smiled. Little girl Huayu is the disciple of the medicine god. If she doesn't have the right to speak, then I won't dare to speak. Flower god is actually speaking up for Qin Huayu. This made Qin Yuda and little grass god even more angry. Quiet, don't make trouble. These big shots will laugh at you. Granny Jasper Flower's expression sank and said. Divine Inscription Palace's elder Peng Changjian said with smile. This little brother came from the lower realms and is now only late-stage god. If he is a good level inscription master, with this kind of cultivation, he can also display it. Elder Peng is right. But if his inscription level is very high, but his talent is not good, and he can't break through to profound god, then what's the use? Qin Yuda said with smile. That's right, a guy like him, even 10 of him can't beat me. What's the use of him? Since his surname is Qin, then he can stay outside and be a worker. Why should he enter Jasper Flower Valley? Little grass god laughed coldly and arrogantly. He is a profound god. If he were to face an ordinary deity, he could indeed fight 1 against 10. What little grass god doesn't know is that when Qin Yun was in the Flower Moon Pavilion, he defeated him in arm wrestling and even slapped him. Qin Yun faintly smiled. You can fight 1 against 10 of me? I don't really believe it. If I really lose to you, I will crawl out of the Qin mansion. Do you dare to fight me? A fight is about to break out. Those big shots, as well as the youths who came with them, are all watching a good show. All right, that's what you said, but I'm afraid that you won't have the chance to crawl out. With a 3-legged cat like you, I can cripple you in 1 move. Little grass god proudly smiled and already took a step forward. Qin Yuda also said with smile, Grandma, let them go. In this way, you can also see what kind of trash the guy that Uncle recommended is. Qin Huayu only knows that Qin Yun is very strong in terms of inscription and growing medicinal herbs. But in terms of fighting, she has never seen it before. Qin Yun has cultivated 5 divine, profound Tao images. The 6th divine, profound Tao image is still in the process of being condensed. With his current strength, forget about a single little grass god. Even if there were 10, he would still be beaten up. I've long heard that the young master of the grass god has extraordinary talent and great strength. He is the leader of the younger generation and shows disdain for all the outstanding heroes. Today, we can finally see the true elegance of the little grass god. Xiang Yalan fanned the flames and said with light smile, No one knows what Grandma Qianghua is thinking. She only faintly nodded and said, Don't overdo it. If you attack ruthlessly, I will be able to tell. Although the courtyard is small, there are many heavenly gods here. Even if the commotion is big, they can still suppress it. If a battle between a deity and a profound god were to really start, the commotion would be very big. Moreover, it would be in such a small place. Qin Huayu is somewhat worried. She was also pulled to the side by Xiang Yalan to let her watch quietly. Remember, don't overdo it. Begin. Grandma Qianghua said. The battle began. In a few steps, the little grass god arrived in front of Qin Yun. His palms stabbed forward like blades. Powerful, profound god power surged out, causing the earth to immediately tremble. Those few big shots also quickly released their power, stabilized the courtyard. Qin Yun's figure flashed and strangely dodged the little grass god's attack. His movement technique looks like he dodged it by coincidence, but it is not. It is brilliant and strange, causing all the big shots present to secretly praise him. And the little grass god's attack is extremely powerful and ruthless. It does not seem to have any intention of stopping. Grandma Qianghua secretly frowned when she saw this. Seeing that it did not hit Qin Yun, the little grass god became furious. He continuously used all kinds of sinister and ruthless moves. If it is not aimed at Qin Yun's crotch, it is aimed at Qin Yun's eyes. With his hands behind his back, Qin Yun used a profound footwork technique and skillfully dodged the little grass god's attack. Stop! Grandma Qianghua suddenly shouted. However, from the beginning, everyone present could see that the little grass god has already been defeated. The little grass god did not stop. With a ruthless expression, he raised his hand and shot out a large area of cold light. It is actually many hidden weapons that contain poison. Qin Yin thrust his palm forward. The vigorous palm energy enveloped the hidden weapons and formed a gust of wind. The hidden weapons released by the little grass god were blocked by Qin Yin. A large area of poison needles and hidden weapons accompanied Qin Yun's palm energy and rushed towards the little grass god. In the blink of an eye, they entered the little grass god's body. All of this happened too quickly. Just as Grandma Qianghua and company had the thought of attacking, Qin Yun rapidly attacked. Chapter 21-25. Little grass god's body has been pierced by many poisonous needles. His injuries are not light, and he is unconscious. But his father did not heal him first. Instead, he took out his weapon and attacked Qin Yun. Stop! Grandma Qianghua wanted to stop Qin Yuda, but seeing that Qin Yuda is not paying attention to little grass god, she can only go and suppress little grass god's injuries. This is also Qin Yuda's plan. This way, Grandma Qianghua will not stop him from killing Qin Yun. As for the other big shots, they will not participate in this kind of matter. Although little grass goddess was in the wrong for using a concealed weapon, Qin Yuda did not think much of it. He was the same as his son. They both believed that Qin Yun was just a nobody. It did not matter if he was killed. Grandma Qianghua would never blame her grandson for an outsider. Qin Yuda's attack is very fast. He is a great god. His divine power is very strong, and his cultivation is much higher than Qin Yun's. A great god killing a little god is as easy as flipping his palm. Want to kill me? Qin Yun sneered in his heart. A stone rod suddenly appeared in his hand. After the floating cloud rod appeared, it immediately swept out. Clang! The floating cloud rod and Qin Yuda's saber collided, causing a violent shockwave. Qin Yuda and Qin Yun were forced to retreat. Everyone present is extremely shocked. A late-stage god can actually exchange one move with a great god. Even Qin Yuda was shocked in his heart. Qin Yun's floating cloud rod contains a very strong energy. When combined with Qin Yun's absolute yang divine power, its power is very terrifying. It must be known that Qin Yun has 5 divine Xiandao images. Furthermore, each divine Xiandao image has been cultivated to the pinnacle. Just now, the power of 5 divine profound Dao images gathered together and poured into the floating cloud rod. Naturally, it can block Qin Yuda's dreadful saber attack. Not only Qin Yun has many divine profound Dao images, the Nether Sun is also a life crystal that stores divine power. The divine power inside is as vast as the ocean. Combined with 5 divine profound Dao images, even if he is only a true god, his power is very formidable. Xiang Yalan originally wanted to take action, but Qin Yun sent her a sound transmission, telling her not to participate in this matter for the time being to avoid Qin Yuda's jealousy. Although she is surprised to see Qin Yun's power, she feels that it is very normal. After all, it is Qin Yun. Is he really a late true god? The young man behind Elder Peng said in disbelief. A late true god beating up the profound god realm little grass god, and was on par with the great god realm Qin Yuda. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, they wouldn't believe it. However, they could indeed only feel that Qin Yun only had the power of 3 divine profound Dao images on his body, and did not have the divine power aura of the profound god realm. The one who was the most shocked was still Qin Yuda. The Midas blade, just now, was extremely strong. He was the grass god, and the power of the godly seat could make his godly power even stronger. But even so, it was still blocked by the other party. Yuda, he's badly injured. Grandma Qianghua was focused on treating Xiao Chao deity's injuries. Grandma, help me take care of him. I'll go kill this bastard. After Qin Yuda finished speaking, he charged at Qin Yun again. This time, he was especially careful and did not directly attack. Instead, he released a cyan energy that enveloped Qin Yun. Suddenly, a large patch of grass appeared. The grass released a burst of golden light. It was a large amount of godly power condensed from the grass god's power, and it wrapped around Qin Yun. Die! Qin Yuda waved his blade and slashed at Qin Yun's head. Whoosh! Suddenly, a fire burst out from Qin Yun's body. The fire waves surged and let out a series of whistling sounds. The grass wrapped around Qin Yun's body was burned in an instant. Qin Yuda's blade slashed down again. This time, Qin Yun quickly dodged. His eyes shot out violent lightning. It's the electric lock, sacred pupil. The most terrifying thing is that the lightning shot out by the electric lock sacred pupil was accompanied by a thunder totem. The godly level thunder totem shot out the electric lock sacred pupil with even more ferocious power. Qin Yuda's body was instantly bound by the lightning. Qin Yun flashed behind Qin Yuda and smashed his rod down on Qin Yuda's head. Boom! Qin Yuda struggled for a bit. His head wasn't hit, but his back suffered a heavy blow. His body was smashed into the soil by the violent impact. Everyone present, including Grandma Qianghua, was dumbfounded. The grass god, who has a god position, was beaten by a little god. Xian Yalan knew that Qin Yun was very strong, but to be able to beat a great god at the true god realm is simply unimaginable. Qin Huaiyu is completely stunned. Not only is Qin Yun good at inscription technique and medicinal herbs, he is also very fierce when fighting. Qin Yun quickly swung his rod again. Enough! Grandma Qianghua quickly stretched out her hand to grab Qin Yun's floating cloud rod. Qin Yun immediately withdrew his power. The divine power on his body suddenly dissipated. From the beginning to the end, he was calm and collected. His expression and eyes did not fluctuate at all. The few big shots present suddenly felt that this young man is unfathomable and difficult to see through. If not for Grandma Qianghua, Qin Yuda, the grass god, would have been crippled. Qin Yun has already stopped, but the grass god who was stuck in the ground did not stop. Whoosh whoosh. A burst of wind whistled. A large amount of grass god's power rushed over from all directions and enveloped Qin Yun in an instant. The grass god's power is mixed with a very strong mental power. This is released through the power of a god position. Qin Yun felt that it was extremely ridiculous. He is the sun god, the king of gods. He wields the divine, king heavenly seal. The god position power of the gods of the heavenly god desolate is a bit weaker in front of him. Qin Yuda's grass god power is indeed very strong, but in front of a god king, it is unable to withstand a single blow. Qin Yun's body shook. Flames rushed out of his body. This is the power of the heavenly Tao flame. The grass that Qin Yuda condensed was once again burned to a crisp and was devoured by Qin Yun. The grass god who possesses a god position is actually so useless in front of a little god. Qin Yun's hands slashed in the air, his 10 fingers crazily moved, and a divine tree totem condensed in an instant. The totem roared and dropped down from the sky, smashing onto Qin Yuda's body. The divine tree totem power burst out and condensed a large amount of tree vines and tree roots that wrapped around Qin Yuda and tightly restrained him. Divine tree totem. Inscription Do technique. Instant release divine tree totem. Divine Inscription Palace's elder shouted with trembling voice. This is the realm of Inscription Do zone. Ancient Dan Divine sect master shouted. No, this can barely be considered as an Inscription Do king. Heavenly Dan Palace's elder exclaimed in admiration. Qin Yuda is tightly restrained by the divine tree totem. He screamed miserably again and again. He is in so much pain that his eyes are bloodshot. Granny Qianghua let out a long sigh, took out a long whip, and ruthlessly lashed it at Qin Yuda. Formidable heavenly god power erupted and scattered Qin Yuda's divine tree totem. At the same time, Qin Yuda was also ruthlessly sent flying out of the courtyard. If this continues, someone will die. Granny Qianghua is very clear about this point. Yuda, you're not allowed to enter Jasper Flower Valley from now on, Granny Cheonghua shouted in stern voice. Remember this for me. Qin Yuda's voice is filled with resentment as he loudly shouted. It must be said that Granny Cheonghua is very strong. She has already removed the poison needles from Little Grass God's body and helped him detoxify the poison. After Little Grass God woke up, he ferociously looked at Qin Yun and said while gnashing his teeth, "Qin Fei, right? Just you wait." Qin Yun indifferently looked at Little Grass God with his hands behind his back and said, "If you want to court death, then deal with it yourself. Don't keep bothering me. I don't want to dirty my hands." You. Little Grass God vomited a mouthful of blood and fainted. At this time, Uncle Neo has already arrived. He carried Little Grass God on his back and left this place. Granny Cheonghua. The reason why I came to Qin family is because I still recognize Qin family. Qin Yun's tone is calm and indifferently said. His meaning is very clear. If he did not recognize Qin family, he would not have come. Peng Changjian said with smile, "Little friend Qin, if you feel that Qin family is not suitable, then come to my divine inscription palace. Whatever treatment Qin family gives you, my divine inscription palace will definitely satisfy you." Ma Jiajin chuckled and said, "Come to my heavenly pill palace. I will definitely not treat you unfairly. I will treat you like my own brother. Don't go to their whatever palace. They are just elders. Their words don't count." Gu Tianyue shouted, "Come to my ancient Dan God sect. I am the sect master. I have absolute power." Xiang Yalan chuckled and said, "Little brother Qin, come to my Flower Moon Pavilion. My Flower Moon Pavilion is full of girls and just happens to lack a man." Those few old fellows immediately cursed in their hearts. Xiang Yalan actually used this kind of method to rope people in. Xiang Yalan is only joining in on the fun. She knows Qin Yun's identity. It can be said that he is one of the big shots of the Guanghan Palace. Granny Cheonghua snorted, "You guys, I haven't even said that I don't want little Qin, yet you guys are in such a hurry to snatch him away. You're even trying to snatch him in front of me. You are not giving me any face at all. Granny Cheonghua, little brother Qin beat up your grandson and grandson. He has already formed a blood feud with them. If he stays here, sooner or later he will continue to fight with those two fellows." Peng Changjian said with smile, "He can be considered a member of your Qin family, but it is not good for him to stay in the Qin mansion." Granny Cheonghua smiled and said, "Do you think I can't even settle this small matter?" It is very obvious that Granny Cheonghua wants to keep Qin Yun. She is not stupid. She knows how powerful Qin Yun is, and he is also a member of the Qin family. "Little brother Qin, what do you think? If you don't stay, even Granny Cheonghua can't stop you." Gu Tanyue said with smile, "If you stay, sooner or later you will be plotted against by the Grass God. That guy is Thunder God's subordinate, and he is deeply liked by Granny Cheonghua." Granny Cheonghua waved her hand and said, "Little Qin, don't worry and stay. I will take care of you Da's side. For old Qin's sake, I will stay." Qin Yun said with smile. "Old Qin? Zhang Kuang?" Granny Cheonghua said with smile, "Is his face bigger than mine? I originally didn't want to follow you, but he forced me to." Qin Yun said. He felt that Qin Zhangquang's actions were most likely to make him help Granny Cheonghua do something, but he was too embarrassed to say it. Chapter 21-26. Peng Changjian, Gu Tianyue, and Ma Jiajin are all incomparably disappointed. They all wanted to pull Qin Yun away. "Little brother Qin, do you know any awesome people from the lower realms? Introduce a few to me." Gu Tianyue chuckled, then took out a jade card and handed it to Qin Yun. "This is my Ancient Dan Divine Sect's VIP card. Take this card. As long as you go to the Ancient Dan Divine Sect property, you can enjoy it for free. All services." "Many thanks, Sect Master Gu." Qin Yun received the card with a smile. Gu Tianyue laughed proudly, then looked at Peng Changjian and Ma Jiajin with contempt. Although Peng Changjian and Ma Jiajin are elders of the Divine Inscription Palace and the Heavenly Pill Palace, they can't take out this kind of VIP card. It has to be said that in this aspect, Gu Tianyue indeed has an advantage over the two elders. Big brother Qin, little brother Gu Yongli, please guide me in the future. Gu Yongli is Gu Tianyue's son. He is quite handsome, and his eyes are filled with arrogance. However, in front of Qin Yun, he is truly respectful. Soon after, the youngsters brought by Peng Changjian and Ma Jiajin also repeatedly called him Big Brother Qin. After all, this is an awesome person who can beat up the grass god. Although he just came from the lower realms, his future is limitless. Qin Yun also exchanged a few polite words with them. Regarding today's matter, don't spread it out, otherwise it will cause a lot of trouble. Granny Qianghua laughed self-deprecatingly and said, Brothers, I've let you all laugh at me today. After all, my grandson is truly too embarrassing. It's fine. Everyone has a few disobedient descendants. It's very normal, Peng Changjian said with a smile. Then I'll take my leave first. Soon after, they all left one after another. Only Xiang Yalan and Qin Huayu remained. Little girl Yalan, don't tell me you still have ideas about little Qin. Granny Qianghua saw that Xiang Yalan is still there and said with a chuckle, Granny, I've known him for a long time. Xiang Yalan chuckled and walked over to pinch Qin Yun's handsome face. You know each other? Granny Qianghua said in shock. Qin Huayu is also very surprised. She knew Qin Yun from the Guanghan Palace. She never expected that he would know the flower god she greatly admired. I met him in the lower realms. This guy is very powerful. Xiang Yalan smiled and said, Granny, don't worry about him. Granny Qianghua nodded and said, Since Yalan is someone you approve of course I can rest assured. Besides, he was recommended by Berserk Slayer. Berserk Slayer wouldn't harm me. Granny, I have something to say. Qin Yun suddenly said, Old Qin has been planting flowers for many years, but he has failed repeatedly. You should know about this, right? Qin Huayu hurriedly said, Great-grandmother, uncle was secretly tricked by someone. Granny Qianghua said with a smile, Of course I know that. I'm not stupid. Nothing can be hidden from me. Really? I thought that. You would be deceived by that hateful father and son. Qin Huayu said. Qin Yuda and his son are going too far. Grandma Qianghua sighed. When necessary, I have to be vicious and merciless, lest I make a huge mistake. Qin Yun said, Now is the beginning of the great era of the Divine Desolate. Compared to the other imperial clans, Qin Imperial Clan has a rare unity. We must properly cherish it. Granny Qianghua slightly nodded and said, Little Qin, you are worthy of coming from the lower realms. You have rich experience. You are indeed different. Granny, what exactly is hidden under old Qin's land? Qin Yun asked and looked at Granny Qianghua's eyes. There must be something hidden under the Berserk Slayer Villa's medicine field. Granny Qianghua's eyes flickered as she replied, Nothing. Granny, if you continue to hide it, it won't be good for old Qin. You might not know how dangerous he is. Qin Yun sighed. Oh, that land is in Qin Medicine King City. What kind of danger could he be in? Granny Qianghua said with frown. Xiang Yalan and Qin Huayu did not say anything, because they can see from Qin Yun's expression that the matter is very serious. Soon after, Qin Yun told them about the heavenly poison grass and took out the heavenly poison grass. Qin Huayu, Granny Qianghua, and Xiang Yalan are very clear about what the heavenly poison grass is. Seeing such a big heavenly poison grass, they all felt fear and trepidation. Granny Qianghua's expression gradually became gloomy and cold. She is clearly very angry. She said in deep voice, I did not expect Yuda to be so deranged. He wants to kill his big brother. Therefore, some matters should be dealt with as soon as possible. Qin Yun said. Granny Qianghua let out a long sigh, as if she has made a very important decision. She said, The Earth God's deity position is sealed under that land. His grandfather, Medicine King Qin, obtained the Earth God's deity position but did not want to take it, so he was sealed in that place. The Earth God's deity position is very spiritual. Over time, it fused with that land, and the deity position also dissipated. Granny Qianghua said, but if we use some methods, we can still sense it. The deity position is there, Xiang Yalan said with frown. Where did Qin Yuda get so many heavenly poison grass? How did he know that there is a deity position there? Thunder God. Everyone knows that Thunder God is collecting deity positions everywhere so that he can obtain more support from the Myriad Realms Divine Court. So that's how it is. If the Myriad Realms Divine Court wants to choose a divine king, then maybe he will be chosen. Xiang Yalan lightly groaned and said, That guy Thunder God, is he even worthy to be a divine king? Xiang Yalan knows that the real divine king is just beside her. Wait for the old man to come back. I will find him to discuss this matter. Granny Qianghua sighed, then pulled Qin Huayu's hand and said with smile, Girl, accompany me for a chat. You are very talented. You can become the medicine god's disciple. This is all thanks to little Qin's help. He taught me a secret technique that allowed me to smoothly complete the mission. Qin Huayu looked at Qin Yun and said with a grateful expression, That flower totem was also created by him. Granny Qianghua shook her head and smiled. Then we won't disturb her chat. I will take little Qin to stroll around the Jasper Flower Valley's garden. From now on, let him handle the flowers here. Xiang Yalan said with smile, and then pulled Qin Yun away. Seeing them holding hands, Qin Huayu and Granny Qianghua realized that their relationship is not simple. Otherwise, how could a high and mighty flower god casually hold a man's hand? Xiang Yalan and Qin Yun's relationship is indeed not simple. It can be said that Qin Yun is Xiang Yalan's savior. Although the Jasper Flower Valley is a small, desolate domain, it is still very big. Xiang Yalan brought Qin Yun to a garden. Yalan, who passed the position to you back then? Qin Yun asked. Xiang Yalan took out a flower. That flower is the flower god's deity position. An old granny. She didn't want to participate in the divine court competition, so she passed the deity position to me. Xiang Yalan said with smile. She could be considered my friend back then, Qin Yun said. I hope that I will have the opportunity to meet her in the future. Soon after, Qin Yun learned that the divine flowers grown by Granny Qianghua are very rare and their growth cycle is very long. Some of them are very easy to have problems and need to be taken care of very meticulously. Oh, that's right. Yuelan previously sent a message to the Flower Moon Pavilion saying that she is coming to Medicine King City. Xiang Yalan said. Do you know about this? She didn't tell me. I also don't know how to contact her. Qin Yun shook his head and smiled. Did she come here to participate in the Medicine King Assembly? She didn't say why. She only said that it's an important matter. Xiang Yalan said. Xiao Yuelan is the nine-sun divine maiden. She has her own mission as a divine maiden. Qin Yun also wants to meet her and understand if there are any other changes to their nine-sun divine maiden. After all, Myriad Realms Divine Sun and Heavenly Divine Moon have come out, and their nine-sun divine maiden has a great relationship with the sun and moon. While speaking, Qin Yun took out Xiao Yuelan's soul-chasing talisman and said with smile, She is already here. Maybe she's already at the Flower Moon Pavilion. Sigh. I hope that the girls of the Flower Moon Pavilion won't be taken advantage of by her. What are you doing? Qin Yun is stunned. This flower goddess is actually taking liberties with him. Your little wife treats us like this all day long. I just want to find her little husband to get back at her. Xiang Yalan said with charming smile. Soon after, Xiang Yalan brought Qin Yun to a few other gardens. The divine flowers there are very good, but Qin Yun feels that they're not good enough. So he casually drew a few runes and inserted them into the ground. Qin Yun's technique is very brilliant. After all, he has already used runes to a very high level. Originally, the birth of many powers in this heaven and earth has a great relationship with runes. Qin Yun is rather lacking in the aspect of runes, namely heavenly runes. The number of heavenly runes he has mastered is too few, and he can't use them flexibly. His heavenly eye has Empyrean inscription spirit, but he doesn't know how to take it out. Granny Qianghua brought Qin Huayu to see Qin Yun use runes and cooperate with the flower goddess to take care of the divine flowers in the garden. Seeing this, Granny Qianghua felt even more relieved. Because these divine flowers have been taken care of so well, they will surely grow very well. Qin Yun obtained the Jasper Flower token from Granny Qianghua and can freely enter and exit the Jasper Flower Valley. Xiao Yuelon has already arrived at the Flower Moon Pavilion. At night, Qin Yun and Xiang Yalan left the Qin Mansion and headed for the Flower Moon Pavilion. The Flower Moon Pavilion's door is tightly shut. After Xiang Yalan arrived, she frowned. It's closed? What happened? Normally, it wouldn't be closed this late. Xiang Yalan felt that something is wrong and immediately brought Qin Yun in. After entering, Xiang Yalan found out that when Xiao Yuelon came, her condition was very bad. That's why the Flower Moon Pavilion immediately closed. When Qin Yun learned that Xiao Yuelon's condition is not good, he became very anxious and immediately went to the room where Xiao Yuelon is. Xiao Yuelon is lying on a bed. She is still wearing black armor. Her cold, arrogant, and beautiful face is pale. She closed her eyes and sensed someone coming over. The moment she opened her eyes, she brandished a long saber and fiercely chopped horizontally. Sensing Qin Yun's aura, she immediately used her hand to chop. She let out a long sigh and said softly, "Xiao Yun, it's you. Yuelon, what's going on?" Qin Yun immediately went over and embraced the haggard beauty in his arms. He took off her armor and let her stick closely to his warm embrace. Xiao Yuelon's jade face is stuck to Qin Yun's chest. She can only feel incomparable warmth and safety. She said softly, "Xiao Yun, I'll rest first. I'm too tired." You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.